Hello and welcome to the Legend of Podcast Trails Through Trails, the podcast where we play through the long-running Trails series chapter by chapter, game by game. I am your host, Matt, and I use he/him pronouns.
And I'm your other host, Lex, and I use she/her pronouns.
And this week we are blazing a trail through the first half of chapter 3 of Trails in the Sky first chapter. I realized that we're like at the halfway mark of this game.
Oh, we're over halfway. There's 4 chapters total.
Played more than we've got left to play. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. The fact that it's called chapter 3 is deceptive because that sounds so early, but it's actually like almost the end.
Right, yeah, because it's a thing I have to get used to with Japanese games where they often have chapters, but it's not chapters like in a book, like in a Western game where they might actually break the game up into 17 chapters of story. It'll be 1, 2, 3, done. Like maybe Yakuza, Like a Dragon, will get up to the double digits, but that's rare. The spin-off games, you maybe get 3 or 4 chapters, and it's great.
Yeah, well, I think that chapters are often treated like acts. And I mean, in the Trails games, they often do have, some games are Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and some games have chapters, but they're often, I guess, if it's more than 3, it's not going to be an act structure unless they decide to be like divertissement, or an epilogue that's going to be longer than the entire Act 3, or whatever. But yeah, usually the chapters are almost more like acts.
But it's true, with the intermissions and the epilogues and the prologues and the side cuts and all this stuff that they love to do, even knowing how many chapters in a game, you really can't judge how much game you've got left to go. But I'm glad to hear that we've finished more than we've got ahead of us, because I'm excited to see at least this point in the story conclude. We've got lots of questions up in the air, and I've played enough Trails to know they won't all be answered, and I am preparing myself for that. I'm just, crossing my fingers that by the end of the game, the ones that I'm really excited about will be answered first.
Oh, yeah.
But it's fine, because we've got 2 more games in this arc alone right afterwards. Yeah. But to get there, we've got to talk about this one. But to talk about this one, we first need to check in as friends. Hey, Lex, how you doing?
I'm all right. I voted today, so that's good.
Hooray!
Canadian federal election is in 2 weeks, but early voting started today, so I did that. Other than that, though, I'm a bit under the weather, but Tylenol cold has my back, so we're holding in there. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. We actually have a local election coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure exactly when. I should check on that.
Yeah, do your civic duty.
Got to do my duty. It's great. Here in Australia, we have a great tradition of being rewarded for voting and punished for not voting. Revolutionary idea, I know.
Ooh.
If you don't vote, there is a fine because everyone is required to vote, but it's such a nuisance fine. It's $50, I think. It's not very much. It's just to kind of say, yeah, you should have done that.
Yeah.
You should have gone down to your local school campus or government office or church or whatever where they set up the voting booths. The reward is that we have the democracy sausage.
Yeah. What's the democracy sausage? Is that just a way of saying it's a great party to be a democracy, or is there a sausage in the literal?
There is a literal sausage.
Sense?
No, it's tradition at any voting point to have a sausage sizzle, just a barbecue, and you just cook up sausages, and you get a sausage in bread with onions and sauce or whatever. It's usually $1. It's quite cheap, although inflation, that's probably a lot higher these days. But it's typically raising money for the school that they're holding the voting at for fundraisers, stuff like that. It's just it's a nice little thing. You go in, you get your sausage, or sometimes a democracy donut.
I was expecting democracy sausage to be less PG, especially since by definition everyone voting is over 18. But I like a literal sausage too.
I mean, everyone's semi-enthusiastic about voting, but maybe not that enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I've been doing well. This is a recording in the past, so I am still working to finish my review on Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So between that and Trails in the Sky, I have a very busy gaming schedule. I haven't been able to do my usual scattershot thing.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even been playing the trash mobile games that I play on the public transport because I'm just like, man, I just need to cool down.
Oh, God.
2 very story-heavy games at a time is a wait, but it's a fun wait.
It is. I have been playing, I started playing Slay the Spire about a week ago, and it consumed my life when I wasn't trailsing or just, being ill. Or working. I should probably put that out there, too. But yeah, it's everyone has already talked about it to, the ends of the earth and back, so I won't go on about it, but it's real good. And I have Apple Arcade because I keep forgetting to cancel my subscription, and I kind of gave up on
Yeah.
ever canceling it. I'm pretty sure Apple Arcade will get closed down before I remember to cancel my subscription, but that means I have it on my phone, and that's dangerous. I have Slay the Spire and Balatro on my phone, and that's a really dangerous combination. I probably should not have those on my phone. But yeah, that's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I noodled with Balatro on Apple Arcade for a while on my phone. It feels very nice to do it as a touch game for sure. I see the appeal. I had a couple of really exciting runs where things worked out in my favor. I did fall off. That's no fault of the game. That's just me. It's still on my phone. If I ever want to circle back and really think about it on a public transport trip, I've got it there. But I also enjoy forgetting that Apple Arcade exists for long stretches of time and just continuing to pay for it. It just means that if I ever check in, I did the plan thing where it's like your storage and your Apple Music and all that.
Yeah.
So whatever. It was a bit cheaper, whatever trickery they used to convince me. And it just means that it's always there, so I'm like, oh, there's games, and I can play the original Final Fantasy remaster for free. Stuff like that. Just a bunch of games that I've downloaded and never opened.
It's maybe the best way to experience Apple Arcade, because when you go a really long time before you remember it exists, there's a chance there's something new there. Whereas if you remember it exists regularly, you'll never have anything new. But if you go like 6 months before you remember it, there might be something new on there.
Yeah, typically our editor at Stevivor, the site that I write reviews for, he will do the monthly sum-ups of what's going in and out of Xbox, what's going in and out of PS Plus, Apple Arcade, and the PC ones that I just immediately glaze over because that's not a going concern for me. But I sometimes look at the Apple Arcade list and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I can play Minesweeper. Great. Yeah. I would love for there to be a killer app. I remember playing a couple of games early on that were really good, but they were also released as like the first chunk of the game or whatever. And I never circled back to find out what happened. But maybe they're not even on Apple Arcade anymore. Who knows? But you know what is on my gaming systems? It's Trails in the Sky First Chapter.
Trails in the Sky First Chapter.
Would we like to talk about the third chapter of the first chapter?
I think we should do it.
Ready?
So, Chapter 3 opens with a in media res scene, not even about Estelle and Joshua, the true heroes of this tale. It's about Agate, the jerk who keeps showing up.
Yes, our beloved redhead jerk, who's a Leo like Estelle, as we learned last week.
That's right.
So it technically starts with some black-clad men running away, and you find out after a moment that they're running away from Agate, and you get one of them comments, how is he keeping up with us with such a huge sword? Which I just thought was like a really funny.
With such a heavy blade, you might say.
With such a heavy blade, how can he run so fast? And Agate beats him up, and which is good because I'm pretty sure he's been chasing them since the first time we met Agate back in like chapter 1. So it's a good thing he finally caught them. Like at least for a moment.
He does make reference to being on this case for quite a while later in the chapter that we're covering today. So it's good to see that he's finally making progress because we keep running into these guys by accident.
But then after Agate beats him up, he's trying to get information out of them. But then Masked Commander shows up, which is the same guy we saw on the boat meeting with the Capuas back in chapter 1. When they were. And he's at least one of the mysterious hymns we've heard people referencing. We don't know if he's the only mysterious hymn, but we know the Capuas referred to him, a mysterious hymn, and it was this guy. So it's at least one mysterious hymn.
And you can tell he's distinct because he has the same sprite, but with a red hat instead of a black hat. And he also has a portrait art of his generic face.
Yeah, so you can see how cool the helmet is one day.
Exactly. I do like the Xena Warrior Princess skirt fringe that they've got on it. It feels like it would have a lot of dramatic movement, but they're also metal tips, so I feel like if you're whipping back and forth in combat, you are going to be slashing yourself in the face with those things.
That's how real warriors do it.
Fashion over function. I also liked that Agate has one particularly like grim, dark, I'm in my gritty phase line when he's chasing these guys. He's like, I was getting sick of playing tag with you fools. Which you can tell he's practiced that one in the mirror.
Exactly.
Like posing with his sword. I was sick of,
Unfortunately, Masked Commander is more of a match for Agate than his two thugs are, his two underlings. They go to fight, and the coolest music starts playing.
It is a pretty sick out of combat as well. It's very well animated. I
Yes.
quite enjoyed
It's
it.
a really cool scene. And the music that's playing is one of my favorite. It might be my favorite music from the whole Sky trilogy. I won't say what it's called yet, because if anyone finds out the name and then Googles it, they're going to get a bunch of spoilers about other contexts in which that music plays. But I love that song. Yeah, it's a really cool fight. And then it looks like Agate has won, but then Masked Commander guy disappears. And Agate goes, the body split craft. So I guess it's some sort of like illusion craft where it's like projecting an illusion of your body. I don't know.
It's it's some sort of ninja clone jutsu, but it is a craft, not an art. So he's not recognizing a spell; he's recognizing a personal skill.
Yeah, it's very strange. I'm like, is that because it's maybe crafts fall into like types of crafts? I mean, we know that they do from our perspective, because we're like, oh, these are crafts that cause impede, and these are crafts that cause AT delay, and maybe they have their own terms for that kind of thing. Like, there's different, everybody who has a body split craft has their own name for it, but it's kind of universally called a body split craft. I don't know.
Yeah, that was one possibility. The other thing that I sort of thought of was... Or Agate
knows who this is and knows that ability.
Or, they talk about people being students of different martial arts schools, the Taito school, for one, that I can remember off the top of my head. So it could be that he's recognizing a skill from a particular house of martial arts or something, and he's like, oh, that's a craft that's learnt by the Trails ninjas in Trails Ninja Village, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Then also, the Masked Commander has a weird line at the end where he talks about, to live as a man, you have to forget anger. Which, great philosophy. I 100% sell that. Men should be living without anger, because men living with anger are the problem.
And grief, though, he says.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get a screenshot of the exact line.
And I'm like, I mean, what kind of grief do you mean? Do you mean, like, when, like, resenting someone? Like, when you're, like...
It seems like, yeah.
Or does it mean grief, like, mourning, you've lost someone dear to you and you're grieving? Because I'm like, that's not so easy to let go of. Obviously, it's good to move on in life, but it's very different to say live without anger and live without grief. Those are just, whether they're right or wrong, they're just two very different philosophies, I would say.
It's a little bit of a vague line, but I suppose it would be too much of a mouthful to say, to live as a man, you must forego anger and grief by processing them healthily in a therapy situation. Not just hiding them under a rug and pretending they're not there anymore, because that's not solving it. That doesn't really fit in the text box.
No. Also, I gotta say, Masked Commander, you don't come off as the kind of person I want to take a spiritual advice from for how to live well. Given all the crimes and shit you're committing, you're working with the guys who just burned down an orphanage, it would appear. Like, maybe I'm not gonna listen to how you... Your advice for how to live as a man is not valid, even if the advice itself is good. You're not a valid person to give that advice. Because I can say for a fact, thing to do if you want to live as a man, don't burn down orphanages. That's like thing number one. That's really high on that list. Yeah,
they don't feel like they have to write that one down, but it is up there.
Yeah.
Look, it was very cool watching you fight, Masked Commander. The thing where you landed on Agate's sword, absolutely dope. Also, great way of reusing sprites that already exist. I really enjoy that. But the whole, like, preaching on how to live as a man, that paired with the fact that the Masked Commander sprite has a very sort of heart-shaped chin, my brain immediately went to, oh, this is a female character masquerading as a man. Because proselytizing on how to live as a man, quote-unquote feminine chin structure that you often get in sort of female characters in anime, I was just like, are we obscuring identity for that reason? Because it's a very common RPG trope. I don't have anything to base it on other than just, like, trope knowledge. But I was like, ooh, I would love that. I love a twist, an interesting villain. But that's sort of our mysterious prelude into Chapter 3, The Black Augment.
Yes. Agate does say to himself, after that whole live without anger or grief thing, Agate says, how am I supposed to do that? And then screams in rage. And then we fade into the title card. So we did have to get a rageful, manly scream out of Agate before we could go to the title.
Yes. A man would rather develop a godlike skill to lift an extremely heavy blade than go to therapy.
And run with it.
He's sprinting with that thing. And
yeah. How heavy is it really?
It has to be pretty heavy. I was looking at the official art for Agate. I was just sort of comparing on the Trails wiki at the very, very top of the page. I didn't scroll down.
Okay, good.
the various iterations of his character art through the games. I wanted to see if he'd changed first, second, third chapter in any way, and then compare it to the new Sky Remake chapter, Sky Remake first chapter art. Man, it's a mouthful talking about these games. The only thing that really changes in his outfit from 1 to 2 and 3 is that he gets a little support on the bottom of his sword blade. Almost like it's a very open sheath, but it's only covering sort of the tip and then a strip of fabric along the bottom. Which means that before that, his sword is just anchored sort of at the handle and is swinging around willy-nilly. So he's not only running with an extremely heavy sword, he's running with an extremely heavy sword that is constantly ruining his center of balance.
Jesus.
This is a man who can't control his anger, but he sure does have the grace of a dancer.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with you, Agate. That makes it even more impressive. Not that you're not still a jerk, but I'm impressed.
Yeah, I also enjoy that in the redesign for the remake, they've kept the essence of his very generic kind of action hero anime character look, but given it a bit more detail. Because he does just look like a generic nobody. I'm so sorry. The character design is not very strong in early Agate. There's just something about I look at the structure of his hair, the way it sort of hangs on his face, and I'm thinking, oh, you couldn't animate that because it would block his eye lines too often if it was animated content, if he's on the wrong side profile and stuff like that. That's extremely limiting. That means they don't plan to use him much. So maybe he wasn't going to stick around for more than one game originally, but he sure did make it through. That sword support really pushed him over the line, I suppose.
Alright, so I just was going to find his Sky First art because I couldn't remember if I'd seen it, and no, I do like what they've done with the remake.
It's a good way of sort of balancing being true to the original character art while also sort of giving more of a through line to where he is in the more modern games. You can sort of see the connection a lot more than you could before that.
I get what you mean, yeah. So, moving forward, though, we get, after the title card, we have Joshua and Estelle going to meet with someone, who I think we learned at the end of last chapter, Chloe asks if she can see them off to the checkpoint, so presumably waiting for Chloe. And they go and they stand out on the bridge and decide to wait on the bridge. And then Joshua makes a comment about how the mayor wasn't elected, and I'm so mad because I've found that maid in the last chapter who was the guy was elected, so whatever bad things he's doing, the whole town is kind of complicit. And then now he's never elected. They inherit by bloodline here, and I'm freaking the fuck out. What is the truth? I need to find out the political situation of Ruan, and I can't handle this. Why is everyone contradicting themselves?
It's
I'm
really confusing because a mayor isn't a lord. He's an elected official by definition of what a mayor is. I don't think there's an inherited mayor title in any real context.
I don't know.
But maybe they do still hold elections, but it's only to vote on the currently living members of the family. Which of the inheritors do you want to have it? They may get that level of choice, and that's why they feel responsible.
Maybe the first mayor of the town was voted on, and then it just got inherited by bloodline after that. Maybe they mean that they voted this family into power once
before they closed out the loops in the rules for running the town. Yeah,
something like that. But Chloe joins us, so we can't learn more about it. But that's gonna bother me.
Yeah, they chat a little bit while they're waiting. They do say that the town is settling down after all the big events of last chapter, but find it weird that people are so accepting of what happened. It's sort of a discussion about how larger town living seems to put people at a distance. They're sort of relating it to their own experience in Relant. Was if something bad happens, everyone knows, everyone's involved, everyone's affected. But in these larger towns, something as big as the corrupt mayor tried to fuck shit up and burn down an orphanage, and everyone's oh, that sucks, but I guess he's getting punished. It's a weird distance that they find. And I also made a note here that they confirm that the mayorship is hereditary, which is an insane setup. But it doesn't matter, because Chloe's here, or our favourite Gear Falcon arrives first, followed by Chloe.
Yes.
To walk us to the border.
Yes. But first I ran around a bit. So I went to church to see Father Theodore, because as we know, in Zemuria, going to church is like going to drag brunch, because all the priests are drag queens. And the father there is called Theodore. And he goes, so the love of money has claimed the mayor, as it has done with so many others, which is a valid observation, but he didn't really have more to say than that. Then I went to school because I knew that I could get a chapter of Cornelia there. I also popped in to say hi to Jill and Hans, and I said hi to the dean. And the dean is really struggling with Mayor Dalmore getting arrested, I guess because they were friends, they've known each other a long time. But he says, it's not so much that his crimes are unforgivable, but I think he might be too. And I thought that was interesting that he's drawing a distinction there between committing unforgivable crimes and being an unforgivable person. Like, I'm wondering if that's meant to mean, like, that he doesn't feel remorse, that he might be, or unforgivable meaning unredeemable, maybe, in this context. Like, I think it's interesting, and I wonder... It's such an interesting little throwaway line that you can only find if you hike all the way back to Jenis Academy and talk to the dean.
Which I also did. It's curious. I did also note that when you check in with Jill and Hans, Jill sort of vaguely alludes to good and bad stuff happening, but won't really go into detail. So I'm like, okay, great, Jill. That just sounds like life. So thank you for the update.
Exactly.
I noticed that in one of the classrooms, Ms. Viola, depending on how we want to pronounce it, is trying to help a student with, I believe, math problems that they're having trouble with. But then she can't figure it out either. She's like, hang on, wait, what's this?
Oh, I missed that.
Which is not a good sign from your teacher.
It's not. Or it means you messed up the equation so badly that it can't even be, comprehended.
Yeah, this is the part where you realize you wrote the homework wrong. I also found Ms. Milia in the staff room, where she's busy sort of writing up the entrance exams, because she's been given that duty. But then I found that back in her classroom, there's a student who's sort of lost in their work, and is just like, I don't know where she went, and I need her help. So she's so busy writing the entrance exams that she's actually disadvantaging her students on the things that they're about to do entrance exams for. Which I found a little funny.
Wait, I thought entrance exams were, to get into Jenis, not, for something after. The students have already written the entrance exams. It's the next batch of students that it's for.
I was thinking of it in terms of going into university, but I guess we've only just invented high school, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, high school is university here.
So yeah, she's so focused on the next generation of students that she's not gonna support the current generation of students, which is a little sad.
Not ideal. I
found in the boys' dorm Argyle just being a complete weirdo. Did you catch his lines at all?
No, I didn't catch everybody in town. I just chatted with the people I mentioned, and then I was like, all right, I'm done. Tell me.
I found him in the boys' dorm. He was in his room. He's just kind of chuckling to himself and talking about how he loves the night. He loves it. He's like, hee, it's almost nighttime. I love the night.
What are you doing? Are you a vampire, Argyle?
No, specifically, he likes to take baths at night in the dark because he finds it very relaxing. And I was sitting there judging him until I realized that I enjoy what I call a night shower, which is just having a shower in the bathroom with the door closed and the lights off. Because it is very relaxing and kind of meditative. But having it in a bath, just soaking in it, seemed wrong. He should have a night shower if he doesn't want to be such a creep. But it was such a random thing. It has nothing to do with anything. Weird. He's just like, haha, I like to shower at night.
I wonder if it's foreshadowing for there being a spoiler. It's not really because it's in this chapter, but a hot spring later in this chapter. Because I totally get if you have an open air hot spring. Saying I like baths at night in that context, under the stars, would make a lot more sense than just I like my bath in my bedroom at night. If you're outside under the stars, that's very different. But I don't think they don't have I think we would know if they had a hot spring at Jenis, you'd smell it. So I'm pretty sure that's not what's going on.
I think you might be right in that it was just a fun little teaser referencing what's about to happen in the story. Because, a lot of the dialogue will start to sort of pivot for the generic NPCs to be focused on whatever the issue of the story is at the moment. They're all talking about the mayor, stuff like that. It's just a weird line. Also, Dennis was in his room talking about how every night he does 3 hours of review of the schoolwork that they just went through and 2 hours of prep for the next day. So he's doing 5 hours of homework every night without fail, which, that's too much.
Do you sleep?
Shouldn't be doing that.
Do you sleep, buddy?
You're a child. You need to sleep.
Right? You also have club activities or whatever. They all do. Because it's Japanese. Everyone is in the club in Japanese high schools. Whether they're in real world or in
It's required to be in an after school, yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much everyone I found of interest running around Jenis. The only other thing I noticed was one screenshot I took of the boys' locker room because I noticed that there was a tuba sitting on the bench, but it is the flattest 2D tuba. It's completely flat to the bench, so it looks like it's made of paper rather than being propped up to kind of create the 3D illusion. I just noticed that, and so I have a photo of Estelle staring at a flat tuba. And then I moved on with the story.
I love that.
I did do a couple of rounds in Ruan as well to see
too.
what was going on with the town. Let's see, what do we have of note? In one of the houses, someone did make a note that the mayor's dismissal, because he was so focused on bringing in money to the town, has caused a drop in tourism. So they're actually not getting as many visitors to the town since the corrupt mayor was pushed out of office.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's because he was so focused on tourism and that without his tourism work it's done, or if it's because everyone heard that that the leader of the town burned down an orphanage and was like, let's not go to that place.
That probably didn't help either, no. I mean, we do know that there was at least one reporter live on the scene in Nile until we left him behind on that boat.
He still got a picture from a distance. I saw it in the newspaper. Yeah, I did pick up the newspaper.
Oh, yes, I remember to pick up the newspaper too, thank goodness.
It specifies that
What's in the paper?
The news... Well, it just covers what happened last chapter and then also mentions Zeiss to, set that up. But what I wanted to point out was that it specifically tells us that Mayor Dalmore is 48 and Gilbert is 25. Secretary Gilbert is 25. And it's so weird how in this world, in Zemuria, you always need to put someone's age after their name when you're giving information. Like Cassius Bright, 45. Mayor Dalmore, 48 in parentheses. Why is that so important? It's really funny.
Is it common to introduce yourself for the first time in Japan with your name and age and occupation?
I don't think so.
It's a Zemuria only thing. What else was going on around town? Oh yes, I checked in at the guild where beloved Kana was there to say hello. Estelle is overjoyed to see her.
She's
just
better.
Lights up. She also says she'll pay us back for all our help if we come back as full braces, which immediately sent my mind spinning. It's like, ooh, if not in this game, in second chapter we're gonna return to town and Kana's gonna be like, good job, you're big braces, and then she'll take Estelle out to a romantic dinner. That could be it.
Exactly. Or me. She could just take me out, skip the middleman of Estelle as the protagonist, just go through the screen and take me out. I'm available, Karna. I'm available and
her profile picture just turns fully to camera and says your name in full, your full government name.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I also visited the church where at this point it was a Father Thomas who said he was going to go basically preach to the bad kids, the members of the gang, to convince them to come back to the light. And one of the nuns says she really wants to go along and help support him. She's like, I want to reform the gangsters. Maybe that's not directly the help they need right now.
Yeah.
At the airport, there was an engineer named Clive who's there with his little brother Todd. Clive got invited to Zeiss as a guest engineer. Don't know what that means. But he's decided to stay in Ruan to take care of his little brother. He's like, it's the right thing to do. It's what I want to do. It was an interesting opportunity, but my brother's more important. But then if you go over and talk to little brother Todd, he's gutted that his big brother's not going to take this job. He's just like, I can't believe he's not going to take this job because of me. It's all my fault. And they're standing on opposite ends of this platform in the airport map, just not talking to each other, both kind of stewing in their feelings about it, which I thought was a little throwaway. Primo at the casino had a quick chat with him about the lighthouse keeper, Volgut.
Yes, I loved that. I thought that was a nice little follow-up.
Just saying, yeah, he's a nice old dude. I'm glad he's still kicking on. And that was about it. It was just a nice little scripted scene. It was nice to see.
Yeah.
I did visit the mayor's house again just to see what it was like, boots on the ground.
I did too, and I talked to Dominique, the maid, who told me there was an election, and she would not answer my questions about why she said there was an election when there wasn't. I went and I was trying to get an answer to her, and she just wouldn't budge.
I also spoke to the gardener in the front garden, who's still doing his job. He's just snipping away at the hedges back and forth.
Yeah.
And just when you talk to him, he just says, "Who pays me now?"
Yeah.
It's like,
I got that too. I was like, oh, buddy.
I love that he's so dedicated that he's still doing the job. He's just like, as he's continuing to work, he's like, when does money happen for me now?
Yeah, maybe stop doing the job until you know who's paying you or that you're gonna be paid.
I did a quick run through the house. There's not much going on. Though I did notice, I went back down the secret passage where the monster bosses came out of, his pet monsters, down the ladder. There's a big piece of machinery under it that I didn't look at the time because you're busy chasing after him. But when I checked it, it was a drawbridge control. So he has controls for the drawbridge in his basement as well.
Huh. Drawbridge controls in the basement.
Yeah, so he can control the raising and lowering of the big bridge in Ruan. But you don't interact with it directly. It's just you go up and talk to it in a prompt and it says it's a drawbridge control.
Weird.
Yeah.
Suspicious.
Which just means that, if he needed to make an escape, he can crank the bridge and block people from chasing him, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very suspicious. That's alarming.
Yeah, so just some interesting little tidbits running around town. Other than that, I almost restocked my quartz because I had built up a bunch of Sepith.
Yes.
But I thought to myself, no, I'm going to wait till we get to the new town and new options are available so that I can up my game. Because I have just kind of been throwing random combinations to see what sticks.
Fair.
And I want to sort of expand my selection so that I can be a bit more decisive and designed with what everyone has and does. Especially as party members are cycling in and out through the story, it seems like.
Yeah. We might see some people again when we get to the final chapter, so it's also good to get a better idea of what you like to do. The only other thing I did that you haven't mentioned doing, I don't think, is I went to the Aqua Rosso bar and I returned my fishing rod that I had taken out to get that thing that fell, which I hadn't realized I still had it until I gave away my progressive rod, so no more rope fishing.
Yeah, same.
But I talked to the guy who runs the bar, and he says that he wants someone called Portos to be the next mayor. Portos was the boss of the warehouse who the Phantom Thief disguised himself as. And I'm flagging this because I don't remember whether we ever find out who the next mayor of Ruan is, but I'm flagging it now so that we can circle back and see if this guy, if whenever we hear about Ruan again, if that's who's become the mayor. I want to know, so I want to flag that here.
Yeah, I also noticed some of the dock workers just outside the Aqua Rossa bar were also talking about how they want the foreman to be the new mayor. Just because he will prioritize the things that are important to us, which is a reasonable way to vote, especially when you get the opportunity to vote.
Yes.
Everybody, vote.
As I did today.
Yes, and I'm about to.
It's so weird to think that by the time this episode is out, those elections will all be over. Both will be over.
A time capsule. Yeah, the only other thing I did in Ruan before heading out, I did just quickly check in at the gang headquarters because I was running around the maps, and you can go back into the warehouse where they hang out, live.
Yeah.
They're all very chill. They're kind of talking about how they're trying to get themselves back into good shape, as productive people, because the fear of agate has been set into them. One of the guys is just standing off to the side. He's like, "Ugh, I have to be good because I don't think my head can take that again from agate," which I assume means that this is specifically the guy that he threw 2 meters up against a wall.
Across the room. I'm glad the guy's up and talking.
He's still concussed.
I'm glad he's not still in a hospital in a coma.
But they're all just sort of trying to reform a little bit. They're like, okay, we got a little crazy. We should probably rein it in. And one of them says something to the effect of, don't worry about us. We'll be okay. And yeah, that was just a last little nod before I headed out the gate towards Airletten checkpoint.
Do we want to take a break and then go to Airletten?
Let's do it.
Let's do this thing!
So we head off to Airletten with Chloe, and I kind of ran around, talked to people, made sure that I bought all the food at the bar, which I had. But as we're heading out, Chloe says, mentions some interesting things. She mentions first that she's been to all 5 great cities in Liberl, and that Roland is counted as one. It's really interesting how they're inconsistent about whether Roland is a great city or the boonies.
Yeah.
It's so weird how it's one of the great cities of this nation, but it's also a tiny town.
Because we've talked about the great cities, but even within each of those counties, they're not the only city. And some of those non-great cities are equal or larger in size than Roland.
I wonder if it's just every region has to have a great city, and Roland is the only town in that region, so by default it gets called Great City.
Maybe. One thing I have noticed is that I think all of the towns that are the great ones so far have had a monument of some sort.
That's true.
Roland, you had the clock tower. In Ruan, you have the lighthouse that I got confused on when we were running side quests and didn't even notice.
Yes, that travesty RIP.
Menhir had a lighthouse, but it wasn't plaqued.
Right.
Zeiss has a plaque on...
And clock.
So I feel like maybe that is... Are they sites of importance in the 100 Days
maybe.
Wars, stuff like that? Maybe. You don't... Unless you've got, what do they call it? It's the thing where it's like a protected property or whatever because it's historic.
Like a heritage site?
It's heritage listed. The towns with heritage listed objects are great, and the ones that don't have anything to heritage list are just garbage towns.
We figured it out.
But yeah, when we arrive at Erletten, one thing I noticed was that as we walk in, Estelle makes note that she's been here before, because obviously we came for the side quest where we had to get rid of Duke Dunan, which does mean that it's possible that she wouldn't have that line if you hadn't done the side quest, so...
Yeah, I do love when those touches are in, yeah.
You can see that, it's possible for this not to happen, so this is a custom experience for me. And in a game that's so old and already so stuffed to the gills with stuff, it's nice to feel adjusted to in that way.
Rewarded. Yeah. I also noted that when I was running around Erletten Checkpoint, I talked to some of the Royal Guards guys, and they said that now they think better of the Bracer Guild because of Estelle taking care of the Duke.
Yeah.
Not because we, arrested the mayor, but because we scared the Duke away by telling him there was a cockroach. Now they're like, you know what? I'm no longer biased against the Bracer Guild. I'm willing to cooperate with you guys in the future. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, I noticed actually that I think barring the guy who runs the resting stop, the inn where you can sort of recover your HP, every other person's talking text references being glad to see you because of how you helped them. So there's the guy who talks about that you just mentioned. The guy who runs the restaurant is like, "Oh, it's so great to see you again. Thanks for your help."
Even though you said there was a cockroach in my establishment.
Yeah, he's obviously recovered from that. Yeah, everyone recognizes you are known, and yes, your work has impacted their opinion of braces, despite what that major wanted to say about us. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see an impact. When I talked to the guy upstairs near the closed gate that led into the tunnel, he mentions that Kaldia Tunnel is a new experience, whether you've been there before or not. Kind of dramatic.
Duh.
But then I headed down to fill out the paperwork, quote-unquote paperwork, to move into the next region.
Where you sign one thing.
Once again, it's sign your name, you're done. Which I think makes it less of an entrance document and more of just a sign-in sheet. Are they just signing in and out as they go from region to region?
I think it's like a library book.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're so strict, but also it's really loosey-goosey a lot of the time.
Yeah, it really is just keeping track of who's where, I guess.
Yeah, there's a gate later in this chapter that I went to, and the only thing stopping me from walking through an open gate into the next region was just that I got forced to turn back. So that's not very good security in my book.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh, yeah.
But yes, we sign the sign-in sheet and then head upstairs to make our way towards Kaldia Tunnel.
Kaldia.
Estelle was quite surprised by the big waterfall thing, which looks more like an aqueduct to me. It's all...
Yeah, they did say it's man-made.
It says it's man-made, and it's just a water conduit that's coming from Lake Valeria, they said it connects to.
Which is the lake that we went fishing in when we were doing the stakeout.
And yeah, Estelle mentions that she's surprised it's man-made without...
Orbaments.
Because it's from so long ago. But if it was from so long ago, that was the time when people had orbaments.
I wonder if it's not as long ago as that. If it's just 100 years ago as opposed to 50 years ago.
Maybe.
Or maybe Estelle's just forgetting how, history works. I just don't know how old it's supposed to be.
It confused me for a second, because it was if it's very old, it should be from the long ago people who were, totally sick at orbaments.
Yeah.
But if it was more recently, then people shouldn't be surprised by it because it literally just happened. Was it in the last 10 years since the 100 Days War? Because the timescale is very hard to judge sometimes.
That's true. It is weird.
In any case, we say goodbye to Chloe. She mentions... before she mentions anything, Estelle takes her hands in a very romantic fashion.
Yes.
A custom sprite, they're holding hands, staring deep into each other's eyes. Chloe blushes and says, "Oh," which is, I'm no expert personally, but that's lesbian as hell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can confirm.
Okay, great.
Now, we also make plans to meet up in Grand Cell in a month, because Chloe's going to be there around when the Queen's birthday celebration's happening. She's got some family who she's going to go stay with. Yeah. Which is exciting.
Relatives she has to go see.
Has to go, yes. So it's exciting. We confirmed at least one character we're going to get to see again in the final chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But she also says, I wrote down what she says about that leads Estelle to hold her hands. She says, I've been running away from the reality of my situation for a while now, to the orphanage and to the academy. But the two of you taught me something. You helped me find the courage to hold my head high and find the strength to protect what matters. Because of you, I know how to be brave. So that's cute, but interesting. That what was she running away from?
Is she accepting a job offer or is she coming out? I can't tell.
It's really kind of seems like the latter. Yeah, so then as we part ways, there's also a really cute little animation where Estelle walks backwards, looking at Chloe for a while before she finally turns around and goes through the gate, and it's like really cute.
I couldn't decide whether to read it as she's like, walking backwards slowly, saying goodbye, friend, goodbye, really close friend. Or did she just lose her mind in her, like, awkward anxiety again and, like, moonwalk away and then just like, all right, bye.
Okay, I love the idea that Estelle moonwalked away from Chloe.
Because one thing that's being established over and over again is that Estelle doesn't know how to deal with her feelings and just, like, freaks out every time. And so I can just see her, like, locking up and just, like, robotically moonwalking away.
Absolutely. It's so funny. Estelle, any non-romantic feelings, Estelle is like your emotional intelligence girly. She's there. Romantic feelings, Estelle immediately just like she's just internally combusts and like nothing works anymore. Nothing functions.
Selectively deaf. It's crazy. It was a very sweet send-off though, and Joshua and Estelle, after the moonwalk, step into the tunnel and the gate slams shut behind them. But we're not done.
No, we're not.
There's still more to see.
Because Julia's back.
Julia Schwartz, the purple-haired army girly.
Yeah, and she is here for Chloe's report. She also asks Sieg if he's been fulfilling his duty as an escort. So Sieg's not just a friend that Chloe made, he's her escort. And Chloe has to go to the Arcee, the fancy airship, to make the report, and then is going to be away from school for a while. And it's all very sus. Or very, very intriguing.
She has to go away from school to come out as a lesbian or whatever's going on with her. Yes, it's some nice, interesting setting. It seems like she's ramming up to something. She's got deadlines to be in town for Grand Sale for the Queen's birthday. Who can say? It certainly seems like she and Julia know each other quite well and are on fairly even footing as well. It's not a scary army lady she knows. Anyway, time to go to Kaldia Tunnel.
But yeah, as we get into Kaldia Tunnel, which is an underground tunnel through the mountain. And speaking of secrets, Estelle is teasing Joshua about how he has a crush on Chloe. But then she gets flustered. She's like, after all, you did just kiss her in the play. And she's all like blushy and looking aside. And Joshua is very unimpressed and is like, that was a stage kiss. It wasn't a real kiss. And Estelle goes, note to self, do not insert foot into mouth.
I screenshotted that line as well. That was great.
So funny.
I also thought it was quite funny, Estelle telling Joshua, it's not unreasonable to have a crush on Chloe. Like, yeah, she says from experience.
Exactly. She's like listing all the reasons that you might have a crush on Chloe. Like, and how would you know all the good reasons to crush on Chloe? There's so many good reasons and you know them all. But she also comments, why do I feel so relieved? Internally, she doesn't say this to Joshua. They giddy up and go through the tunnel. And it's a big, long tunnel. I ran around, found some chests, but nothing really exciting until I got to the end. Did you have any fun experiences going through the tunnel?
I was just running through. I found it was nice to hit enemies that once again were challenging so that I could get some actual XP. So I always like to take out every enemy in a new area as we're going through them now.
Me too.
I did shoot off, there's a blocked off or a warning signed road to the limestone cave.
Yes.
That they say, don't go here, it's dangerous and it has monsters. So I was like, all right, off I go, and went straight into the limestone cave. A lot of tough enemies in there. I found a couple of fights that I could knock out. It was great to soup up my XP. I think I got Estelle and Joshua up to level 21, 22 really quickly in here. Just because I risked it and took a couple of these smaller parties on and then opened a chest and the monsters inside was 8 of the enemies that I just barely scraped past a pair of. So I turned tail and ran out of the cave at that point. But I got a couple of extra healing items out of it. There was nothing really of note. It's a cool blue cavern. I thought that was very interesting. But also a complete maze because there's no map and it's got interconnecting bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And when I decided to leave, it wasn't so much a choice of just running to the exit. It was like, okay, now my intention is to leave. and I have to keep going until I find where I came in again. But classic maze solve, you just follow the left wall and you'll get there eventually. You do have to run away from a lot of fights that you accidentally start while you do that though, so it's not my best technique. But no, once I came back from Limestone Cave, crossed a couple of bridges across underground rivers, and ran into someone new.
A girl child!
A girl child. It's been so long since we've met a new girl child, and here we have one. She's blonde. She's tiny. She's cute.
She's adorable. And she's got this big red hat.
I love the hat with the twin tails coming off it, almost like she was destined to meet Estelle.
Yeah. Girl child asks if we noticed any lights that were out on the way. And Estelle's like, sorry, we didn't notice anything. And Josh was like, there was a light flickering at exactly this spot between two bridges over down the river. Like, he's got it down to his signs. He noticed it was flickering. It's like, okay, Joshua.
A neurodivergent king.
Girl child is like, oh, okay, that's what I thought, and runs off. And Estelle and Joshua are like, we should follow the child into the tunnel full of monsters. We shouldn't just let her go by herself. So they do that because they're good, responsible bracers. And girl child has found the light, and it's out, and it's surrounded by monsters. And she uses a really cool big gun to try and scare the monsters away, but it just makes them angrier. And so
she has a full bazooka.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. How everyone was impressed with Agate managing to run carrying his heavy sword. We should be impressed with this 4'5" child carrying a bazooka twice her weight in size. That's really impressive. She was running too, full barrel. But we get there in time to save girl child from the monsters, and we fight them.
Not too hard of a fight as well. At this point, I felt very
easy.
strong and powerful after my ventures into the Limestone Cave.
Yeah, it's the same kind of monster that you encounter a bunch through the tunnel. It's just that there's more of them than you in a normal encounter, but it's not particularly hard. And there's a an orbital pocket watch winding station right before where you go in. So if you notice that, you can also heal up right in time.
Am I remembering correctly that the girl child joins you in the fight at this point as well?
Yes, she's in the fight, and you can control her.
Because her craft is amazing. She has this huge area of effect craft that not only hits everyone, but blinds them with very good effectiveness.
Yes, it's
so
really great.
In these fights where you're just getting swamped by a whole party of monsters, that is a clutch skill.
It's so good. And even her normal attack is area of effect. It's a much smaller area of effect, but it'll hit a small, when spells or arts have a small range, but they're still a circle range as opposed to a single target. It's that same range, which is really nice. That even if she doesn't have CP, she can hit a few enemies.
It's really impressive, and it was at this point, along with having more area effect and line effect arts at my disposal, I found myself planning how to attack a lot better.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes the area effects either target a specific enemy and everyone around them, or just a specific spot on the ground. Knowing that the enemies, the AI is not that amazing. They're going to rush at you and attack you most of the time because they have to get in range.
You can set your spells.
Pre-planned, it's like, this one's going to run towards me and will be roughly in the middle of the party of monsters, or this is the area where they'll roughly all end up in when they come to attack me. And you can just feel very great at predicting their incoming attacks and just being like, nah. It feels very rewarding, and I think she, the girl child, is very equipped to enable that kind of strategy because everything she does is area effect. I love it.
It's so great. She's great. I love her.
Even her S-craft is area effect, which is the first one we've got as well.
Finally, thank God. And I finally was able to get a spell and art called White Gehenna on Joshua, and it's my favorite art in these games.
Yes, I've got that now.
Good. It's a big area of effect time element art. It's fantastic. So I was very happy that I could finally get that.
And being time, it means that they're not able to have a resistance to it, right? Because they only have resistance to the elemental elements.
Yeah, not to the higher elements, which is I don't think they've called it that yet, but it'll be called the higher elements for the three space-time mirage. No, they don't have, at least in this game, you don't have resistances to those, which is very nice. At least so far, I guess. I don't think later in the game they introduced resistances to it, but I don't remember. But now that we've saved Girl Child, we learn that her name is Tita. Mm-hmm. She's so cute.
Tita is the cutest. She is extremely smart. Mm-hmm. She starts talking about computers and databases, which absolutely leaves Estelle in the dust.
She's like, in the parentheses, computers, database. And then you get this amazing bit.
Yes, where she's trying to explain what she just did to fix the light because they're very impressed that she's got it working already. And they're like, what did you do? What do you mean? And on screen, the text box loads up for what Tita's about to say, and it takes up most of the screen.
Yeah.
And then slowly it just starts filling in with this incredibly detailed explanation of what an orbment is, how it works, why it works.
Everything Matt's been wanting to know since the beginning.
Everything I've been wanting to know in one text box.
Yeah.
And halfway through it loading up, an additional one pops up of Estelle just saying, stop! Stop!
It's so good. Perfect comedic timing.
And the portrait of Estelle just looks shell-shocked at this time as well. She's just like, no!
And then Estelle manages to cover her ass for how abrupt that sounded by saying, we should probably get walking as we talk. We shouldn't just stand here and talk. And Tita's like, okay, that's a good point. I was only just getting started, though. I was only getting warmed up, and Estelle's like, oh no, there's even more. We all go back to Zeiss, the town we're headed to, and the tunnel exits into the basement of the factory. Zeiss is a factory town with the big factory. You know, it's like what a shopping mall would be in a Pokemon town, or like a department store in a Pokemon game, where you get like one building with an elevator and 6 stories. It's that. But you exited the basement, and Estelle's like, oh, I'm gonna get lost trying to find my way to the front door. So Tita shows us to the front door, but first I went into another room that wasn't the front door. It's like a factory assembly room. It has like conveyor belts and stuff, and Tita has like a cute little tour guide moment of saying what it is, and Joshua and Estelle are very impressed. And then they go into an elevator. Yeah. And Estelle's like, what's this room? And they're all very impressed that the elevator gets its own room. It's super high tech for an elevator to have its own room. They've seen elevators at the mines before, but like that's a very different kind of elevator. They're very impressed with this. And then we get to the lobby, and the receptionist lady tells Tita that somebody needs her for work. Chief of operations, somebody needs her for work. Yeah. So we part ways with her very sadly.
Yeah. She points us in the direction of the Bracer Guild out the front door. I did not go that way. I immediately decided to explore the entire Zeiss building.
Before Tita leaves us, Estelle says, is it okay if we come by later to say hi with you? We learn that Tita is an apprentice here. And Tita is so excited at the idea that Estelle and Joshua want to come and hang out with her and say hi later. It's adorable. She's so excited. And Estelle says, I've always wanted a cute little sister instead of a stupid little brother. And she and Joshua bicker about the brother not brother thing. But you went and explored the place. Tell me about what you found.
I ran up and down. One of the first rooms I found was the archives, basically a library in the building on the second floor. The librarian says that I'm free to sort of explore around and read anything that is of interest. I walked around all the bookshelves. There's literally only one book you can interact with. And so I read that, and it wasn't that interesting. I think it was just generic world building. I went up to, I believe it was the lab or the operations area where I found Carl, the guy whose prototype gun we found in the previous chapter. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you guys. Thank you for helping me. And he's just really excited to invent gun.
Almost too excited to invent gun.
He's like, the prototype's great. We're almost ready to go into mass production. I can't wait for these to be selling off the shelves. Yeah. He's really excited to sell guns. And I'm like, Don't sell guns.
Do it, buddy.
That's a bad start. So I kind of left him to his own devices. There's a guy called Hugo who says that development on the new engine for the Arcee airship is at a standstill because they're missing their guest engineer, Clive, from the airport.
Such a cool tie-in. I hadn't even talked to Clive, so I noticed all these combos in Zeiss, but when you said that earlier, I was like, oh, they tied it together. Of course they did. I knew it had to be someone. I just wasn't. I'm under the weather this week, so I wasn't questioning things that I would usually question. I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, I was excited to see these kind of carry-through storylines because it's the big selling point of the Trails series. But seeing one play out from the very start is very exciting. They kind of can't get anywhere because they needed the outside perspective of Clive as their guest engineer to kind of push things forward. So now they're just sort of thinking, if we can't build this new engine, then the Arcee is dead in the water or sky. Yeah. We can't use it. And so this man loving his little brother too much is like stopping major technological development.
Life lesson, people. Don't love your little brother too much. Don't choose family over career or else you'll ruin the world.
Yeah, which do you want? A relationship with your little brother or a flying ship? In the lab, I also found a guy called Terry who was grossed out by his co-worker's invention, which is a really bad tasting tomato.
The acerbic tomato. The classic acerbic tomato. These will be seen again.
These will come up again. They don't say call it an acerbic tomato in the moment, but I was like, I recognize this. And then I went into his little greenhouse to like investigate his plants just to see if there was anything to say how they're different from regular tomatoes or something. Literally, Estelle just reached out and took one because it's like, you got an acerbic tomato.
And you can just keep going in and out of the room and getting more tomatoes. It's amazing. Like, because you can use them for recipes, so it's very useful.
I love that she just walked into someone's workplace and stole part of their research as well. It's like, this is a plant in an experimental setting. This is probably fine. I'm going to go put it on... I don't know, I'll have to get someone to invent an amazing recipe with this, I guess.
I love it.
I also found Teoh in the ops room.
Oh yeah, what's she up to?
She's working on the Orbital Calculator, which is what they call it. So it's just a big room full of servers all over the place, and a lot of high-tech stuff, but they're kind of invested in what they're working on, so they don't really interact with you other than, oh, look, there they are. So that was about all I found of interest across the building. So yeah, I headed out the front door of the Zeiss Central Factory into Zeiss Town.
And the first thing, there's like some merchants at like little shop stalls, and I picked some stuff up there. And then you encounter the escalator. And this is fucking great. The Brights are so bamboozled by this escalator. They're like, "Oh my god, it's a moving staircase. Oh my god!" And Josh was like, "Well, I guess it is a long hill. I guess it would be long stairs, but they're moving. Oh my god, they're moving! Like they're so it's just amazing." And like the camera pans down to like give you this long shot going up over the escalator. Like it's so excited about it.
I enjoyed that Estelle. She's not a fan. She looks at the escalator and she has this really like unimpressed look on her face. She's like, it's moving stairs. So I made a point of running up them the wrong way every single time.
Me too. I did that every time. I kind of wanted Joshua to like yell at me for it, but he didn't.
I wanted the same because, just for a very, very minor peek into the future, in one of the Cold Steel games, there is a city you visit that has an escalator and everyone's kind of excited about it too, and you do get told off for running up and down it in the wrong direction. Yeah. So I really wanted that to be a historic thing. Sadly, it's not. I'm sure in the remake they'll add something in because it's just too good.
It's classic.
I want to hear the custom dialogue lines of Teoh just saying like, "No, guys, you go the other way." I can only assume Estelle's like, "Oh no, but this is resistance training."
Yeah,
this is great. We wander around the town. Found that monument that I was referring to earlier, the first Orbital clock.
Yes.
The very first Orbital clock, which is this little clock tower invented in 1162.
Yes.
And Zeiss used to just be the clock town. The big thing was that they had a clock. And now it's kind of an artifact of a bygone time, while this 5-story factory with multiple underground layers is building everything everywhere.
Actually, later on, I was able to find a little more, I can't remember if this was in main dialogue or some side dialogue, but little context to this clock, that when the professor who we'll meet later on, who was important in bringing orbital technology here, he united with the clockmakers to make this as kind of an example of what orbital technology could do. So it has its important significance to like the bringing of orbital tech to Liberal.
From here, I headed into the Bracer Guild, where we're meant to go.
Yes.
And met new receptionist just dropped. It's Kilika.
Yes, Kilika. And Kilika is like, if every other receptionist is like secretly like an intelligence officer, Kilika is James Bond. Like, Kilika is like leagues above in terms of, she like walks in, she's like, "Yes, I know exactly who you are and what you're here for, and I also know what side projects you've been working on, and I know you're worried about your dad, and yes, I can read your mind."
Yeah, she's good.
She's real good.
All the other receptionists have like a veneer of hospitality training over the top of their intelligence gathering. Kilika does not have time for that. She's got too much to do.
She's like, "No, I do in fact run this town."
Did you run around the town at all before heading forwards, or?
I did, and there's only a couple things that I'm gonna point out. First is that I went to church, of course, and the priest is named Father Vixen.
I didn't catch that.
I'm obsessed with it. Father Vixen.
Father Vixen?
Father Vixen is like the only one who seems to be playing on the same level as Father Divine so far, just by that name. He doesn't really have anything interesting to say yet, but like that's okay. It's early. He's just still waking up.
The head church in Grancel better be run by Father Deathdrop or Father Shablam or something. Yes.
Father Sickening.
Pope Sickening the Third.
And then I went to the weapon shop and talked to the guy. I mean, I picked some stuff up, but I talked to the guy, and he was giving his little promotional speech there, and he goes, "Do the sight of foul accoutrements make your palms sweaty? Well, shop here. We cater to the violently inclined." And I just had to screenshot that because what the fuck is that? We cater to the violently inclined.
That's amazing. I mean, he knows his market. It reminds me of Dimension 20, the Fantasy High series.
Yeah.
Where over time they just came to terms with the fact that adventurers are just people who travel and are violent and they revel in it. He's kind of on the same level. It's just saying, like, yeah, I sell weapons. Weapons are for hurting. Do you like to hurt? Here you go. You gotta hope there's some sort of psych screening in these stores before you can get like a buying gun license.
Later on, I went into this guy, and this guy was like talking about how the owner didn't want the newest weapons on the shelves, and how he was waiting for a new model to come in because it's the only thing that gives me joy anymore. And I'm like, this man is a walking flag waiting to happen. This man. We need an intervention stat. Like, this is scary.
Maybe they just need psych screenings for the people selling the guns.
Like, oh boy. But then other than that, no. I went to the receptionist, and Kilika mentions that the factory chief is like the mayor around here, which I guess at least the non-elected leader of the town isn't a mayor. He's just a guy who, like, basically is in charge, but it's very strange.
We're seeing a lot of split interests in city officials, I'm finding. Mayor Maybell was the mayor, and she inherited it. And she owned a restaurant, so she was a business owner.
And the market. She owned the whole marketplace.
And the market. She takes you to her restaurant.
Yes.
So then you've got Dalmore, who was just pulling shady shit on the side. He was a real estate agent, basically.
Yep. And a gambler.
Here, you're running a factory, and you're the mayor of the town. How do you stay impartial, mayors?
I guess everybody in the town works for the factory in one area, or in one way or another, so they're just like, well, it's the whole town is a corporation.
Yeah, any day they're going to shift the currency to Zeiss script, and then we'll really know things are going well. Proper mining town. Yes, we get word from Kilika of where to go next, and we pretty much have to turn around and go back the way we came.
Pretty much. Kilika is like, well, we don't need you to do anything. There's no emergencies, but we should have you talk about, I know about the Black Ornament, and you should go talk to the factory chief about it, because he's probably a useful person to consult about it. And no, you didn't tell me any of this. I just know all. So we say, okay, Kilika, you're on top of everything, and we're just going to do everything you say, because she's Kilika. So we go in to the factory to talk to the receptionist, and we get an amazing bit of flavor text. Where I took a screenshot. Which I
screenshotted word for word.
Yeah. Estelle reaches into her pouch, paused for dramatic effect, and then flourished the introduction note to meet the factory chief. Joshua looked stoic and tried not to roll his eyes. So good.
She's living her fantasy as like a big bracer.
She's so excited.
Joshua's not having it, and neither is the receptionist.
She's freaked out. She's like, what a weirdo.
The next line is, she sort of goes to sort of fulfill your request, but it does mention that she does not take her eyes off Estelle.
Yeah, she's like,
I'm going to keep my eyes on this weird child.
Yeah, she's like, I don't like this kid. But I didn't go straight to plot yet. I wanted to do side quests. I picked up some side quests. I didn't do all of them. Yep. Well, I did the temporary librarian quest, or at least I did the first part of it. This is a multi-part quest. I did not do all the parts yet. I just did the first part where I collected some books. The main thing I need to point out is that one of the books is called Kitty Talk for Dummies. And when you have it in your pouch, you can go read it. And it's 4 pages of translating cat speech into English. Now, you can then read, once you've given it back, it shows up in the library. So you can read it there too. But I'm obsessed with the fact that they actually wrote 4 pages of the translation. Like, "Nya" means yes, and "nya" means I'm hungry, and like, it's so funny.
It's great. I really enjoyed that quest. You run around to pick up 3 lost books, just people in the company who haven't returned their stuff.
Yes.
In the design room, you find the Septian Optic Annals, or Annual.
Yeah, something
and
like
that. It basically just talks about the generic information about what Ordnance and Sepith and all that does, but it kind of ends just by saying, we really don't know how any of it works.
Yeah.
We don't know why it works. It's just kind of a mystery. It just does. And that's kind of where we're at, and that's what we're building our entire society on.
Concerning.
It's like if Thomas Edison had invented the light bulb, and he's like, man, I don't know what this shit does. It goes bright. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The clinic is where you find the Kitty Talk for Dummies book. It's just in there with the clinician. And in the lab is Tomorrow's Cooking, which, if you read it, teaches you a recipe for Bouillabaisse Plus. It's a fun little Easter egg. You can read them while they're in your inventory, yes, or once you return them, they do all appear on the shelves as well. So you do have an option to go back and look at them. But when we do that, they also mention that there's another book missing with a note. And that it's possibly somewhere further than just the building. It could be somewhere out in Greater Zeiss County.
Now, I didn't do it yet because I knew that I'd be going to the place and I knew where it would be later, and I knew that I had enough time before, I had lots of time. I think you have the whole chapter to do the side quest series, but did you go and do it yet?
Not at this point. I did find it by accident while I was on sort of a later part of the story.
Yes.
But no, you get a little quote from the note, and the note says, approach the man of stone standing in silence within the mountain village pond, and ye shall receive. And I was just like, oh god, is Blue Blanc back? Are we doing this again? Am I gonna have to do the voice again?
Well, we're gonna have to find out later if that was him, because I don't know yet.
Put that one on the back burner.
Yeah. So at this point, I went to see Chief Murdoch. Did you do anything else before heading to Chief Murdoch?
No, I think it was Murdoch time for me as well.
Murdoch knows our dad and is like, yeah, every time I have trouble, your dad comes and helps me. He's basically my benefactor. So does that make our dad the mayor of the town by being the benefactor of the quasi-mayor of the town? Like, does that make us the town royalty, kind of?
I think it does. I'm pretty sure Prince and Princess of the town of Zeiss.
Exactly.
Is a fair assumption. Maybe Joshua would finally have something to introduce himself with besides what Estelle's already said.
Exactly. But Murdoch takes a look at the ornament, and he notes that it doesn't have basically a serial number. There's something, a caliber written on the side of it, and Estelle is like, what? What's that? And it turns out that every ornament has like a little number engraved into it. And Joshua's unimpressed that she's never noticed, but I probably wouldn't have noticed that either.
Yeah, I don't look at the serial numbers of things that I own. No. Sorry.
Also, Murdoch can't see how you would open it. Like, usually there's casing that you open on an ornament to see the circuits, and there's no clear seams or anything. So he sends us to talk to Professor Russell, who appears to be the Professor R mentioned in the note that got with the Black Ornament. And he is the father of the Orbital Revolution, which is kind of a cool title alert, I guess.
Cool title alert.
Father of the Orbital Revolution. Usually cool titles are combat, but, he kind of gets one.
It's still a pretty cool title.
So he was the apprentice of C. Epstein, who discovered orbital technology. He was one of the 3 apprentices of the guy. And he came back to Liberal after studying under him and brought orbital tech here. And Tiva is his granddaughter, so she knows where he lives, because she lives there too.
Fantastic. We're off to meet the father of the Orbital Revolution, aka Techno Daddy.
Yep.
And Techno Daddy is... The first thing I noticed when you arrive at the house to meet him is he is going bald in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
He has sticky, straight-up scientist hair, but bald stripes straight down the middle.
Yeah.
So it's just this very aggressive halo of hair.
I'm not sure if he's going bald or if he just burned off all the hair in, the middle and some experiment gone wrong.
It really could go either way.
Murdoch kind of mentions, seems a little worried or a little apprehensive telling us to go to Professor Russell, and it's clear when you meet him why. Because the guy is not a bad guy and very smart guy, but he's a weirdo.
He's a weirdo. He's a chaotic man. He's so tranced out on inventing that he doesn't even notice you arrive. Smashes past Estelle on his way to the next part of the experiment without registering at all that they have been talking to him.
Or that he smashed into a person. Estelle spins around in circles a few times and gets dizzy, animation over her, and he hits her hard and he doesn't notice. Which I guess he's pretty spry for an old guy. And we follow him down to the lower part of his factory, of his study or whatever it's called, and get drafted into this experiment pretty much immediately. He just yells, you, one with the black hair, go upstairs and get me this book. You, antenna hair, go and make me a coffee.
Antenna head, yeah.
Tita, help me do something helpful. Antenna head. I love it.
Everyone loves to dump on Estelle, whether they know her or not. He could have said, girl with hair like Tita's hat.
Or girl with brown hair. Black hair boy, brown hair girl, red hair girl, whatever color. I guess that's why he didn't call her that, because no one's sure.
Hey, boy with black hair, do this. Hey, you, dumb, stupid, idiot girl.
To be fair, he might think antennas are awesome. He does kind of have his own antenna. If you could call his little hair tufts antennas. True. Maybe it was a compliment.
So, a kindred spirit in Estelle. A generous reading, but we'll allow it. But yes, he's busy working on a new type of orbment that blocks you from being detected by detection
orbments,
ports.
I think. Yeah. Which is
So
interesting.
it's like a stealth thing.
Yeah, it's a little concerning to think of what uses there would be, but I could also see useful, I guess. Depends whose hands it's in, I guess.
Very much so. There's a lot of bad hands for that tech, but
Yeah.
he's just there for the inventing of it all.
Yeah.
Cranks the machine to see if it works. Teeter immediately gets involved and sort of loses track of the rest of the world as well.
Yep.
So it's very clear that they're family.
Yes, she gets it from him. But she's a little more well adapted than he is in terms of behaving like a human being. But eventually we've all done this experiment, and then we're sitting at the kitchen table, and Professor Russell's like, "Oh, sorry, I thought that you guys were new hires who were sent from the lab. That's why I drafted you into the experiment immediately." And Estelle's really mad that she was relegated to making coffee, and she goes, "You know, the only thing you have me helping with is making coffee. Girls can bang metal parts together too, old man." And I'm like, I appreciate the feminism, but a girl was the only other person banging metal parts together in that experiment. Teoh was the one doing other science work. I think in this one case, it wasn't a gender thing.
Yeah, it's not a women thing, it's an Estelle thing. Sorry.
She also refers to him as an old fart with attention deficit issues, and Professor Russell's like, "Thank you."
He likes to be correctly identified, I suppose.
Exactly.
Teeter also apologizes for getting lost in the moment, and Estelle says, "You don't need to apologize, sweetie."
Yeah, she is totally in love with Teoh. She's like, just head over heels for this adorable child.
They talk about how the professor knows their dad.
Has known him since his army days.
Yes, and they make reference to his mustache.
Yes, I caught this, because Teoh catches it. Teoh's like, he has a nice mustache, and Estelle...
It's like, I don't know about nice, it's definitely suspicious looking.
I thought of you when she said that. Estelle agrees with you.
She's right on the money. That, John Waters and no one else can have that mustache. Anyway, after lunch we're going to scan the black orbment with the same piece of equipment that we were just finishing the experiment on.
And Estelle's very unimpressed by the fact that we're apparently just calling it the Black Orbment. She's like, why can't we call it something cool, like dark thingy of impending doom? And the doom is in all capitals. And Professor Russell's like, no, that would be annoying to say every time, which is a fair point.
But we run the test, and it's scanning, and then things start to go a bit crazy.
Yeah.
We get the same sort of interesting effect that happened around us when the Black Orbment activated against the mayor's time stop wand.
Yep.
But it keeps spreading and spreading.
And spreading and spreading.
And spreading.
Through the whole factory or whole workshop, and then out into the town, all the lights go off. All the technology in this whole city shuts off.
Shutting out in a wave like an EMP coming out of the lab at Tita's house.
It's genuinely kind of chilling, like watching it.
Because they have this great shot where they show the lights going off, and then it holds the shot, and you see all the NPCs coming out of their houses and businesses. So everyone's just like, what the hell is going on? This is a town that is heavily reliant on orbments because they are the orbment factory.
And it's interesting because, like, they've clearly never had a blackout before. Like, that's not a thing that happens with orbital technology. Like, in my life, you know, sometimes the power goes out. Usually, I would be a bit weirded out if it wasn't a storm or something, but, like, that has never happened since orbital technology was instituted everywhere. They've never had a blackout of any kind. The lights have never just gone off like that.
They don't even know how this stuff works, so why would they know about it shutting off? We pull the plug on the experiment, which almost immediately, everything comes back online.
Like, right away.
Joshua's got his head out the door. He confirms that the rest of the town has also just come back online as though nothing had ever happened.
Professor Russell dubs this the orbital shutdown phenomenon, and that's in all, like, capital letter at the beginning of each word, so this is like a proper title he's calling it, that is what this orbment does. He's got a very serious face. He's clearly able to be serious when serious things happen, even though he's a kooky old man.
It's directly affecting his interests, so that's probably what pushes it over the line for him.
But to be fair, he wanted to keep going with the scan until he found out that the shutdowns was happening outside of his workshop, and then he was like, damn it, we have to turn it off right away. Which, you know, is reasonable. You'd see a lot of mad scientist characters would be like, no, I'm going to get my science results no matter what. But he was willing to tolerate all the power in his house going out, but once it affected beyond the house, he was like, shit, no, we can't do that. So, props to you, Professor Russell.
Yeah, he wants to uphold his reputation as the father of the orbital revolution. He should be the one bringing orbments, not killing them.
Yes.
So, time to pull the plug for now and figure out next steps.
And next steps, well, for me, the next step ended up being a bunch of side quests, actually. But first, we went into the guild and reported on what happened, because Killick already knows lots, and is also like, I know that you know more than me because you were there from a different point of view, so you need to tell me everything.
A huge humbling from Killiker to not know something.
Yeah. Russell has already gone off to the factory. We're going to meet him there, and he's going to try and, I guess, use tools he has there to do a different stuff with the orbment. So we're going to go meet him there, but we and Cheetah have stopped in the guild first. And that's where you can pick up all these side quests.
I will also note one thing from when we woke up at Tita's house after the
yes.
experiment, because it seems we stayed the night because it was quite late and everything was kind of shaky out in the world. They wake up and Estelle's just grinning and loving how great it is to have Tita around. She loves being a big sister. She loves, like, cheering her on. But then she says she could be like a pet, cheering us up whenever we're feeling down. And Estelle, do not keep that child as a pet.
And Joshua goes, that's creepy, Estelle.
That's creepy. Like, correct, Joshua. Estelle, you let yourself cook on this idea for a little bit too long, and your brain just spun out in the wrong direction. But the intent is there. We love it. Just don't be patting our head and saying, good girl. That's a step too far, I think. So yes, we have to report up to the ZCF tower once again to find out more about what's happened with the Orbital shutdown phenomenon. So we talked to the professor, and he's made a few more discoveries since we last saw him about what exactly happened. He says that this EMP effect of the black orbment, it basically broadcasts it out from the orbment. Whatever it hits is affected and shut down, but then acts as a relay point, like a chain lightning kind of thing.
Yeah.
So object or any orbment within a range of 5 arg, which is meters, so 5 meters, will be affected and just chain onto everything else within 5 meters until there's nothing left in range. And that becomes the end point of the orbment shutdown effect.
Yeah. Which is a bit weird thinking, like, I feel like it's interesting that Mayor Delmore's house didn't have more effects in that case, because there must have been orbital lights, like, within 5 meters of us, but I guess maybe his lighting power grid is weird or something. Russell seems to have set up his workspace so that he has, like, 5 meters between the black orbment and any other orbital, like, technology things, so that he can, like, experiment without risking that happening. So he has a giant saw that's, like, meant for breaking, like, high alloy, I don't know, for tough stuff. And it's being shut off by it, but he's made sure that there aren't other orbments within 5 meters so that the shutdown doesn't spread.
Yeah, it's very funny watching this little experiment play out. You see the band saw, circle saw, move across the table, and it just goes like tink against the edge of the orbment, and you see a little flash of that weird blue effect, and it stops immediately, so it doesn't even have a chance to do any damage. But Estelle does check just to confirm whether a scream and a hard whack will do it. Turns out no, we do need something a bit more powerful.
Apparently not.
We need to organize a combustion engine, this ancient and, like, cast aside idea, inefficient, a fuel-based system where you have to put...
What kind of society would do this?
What society would build their entire industry around this? But you need this mysterious fluid called gasoline to put in a combustion engine so that we can hook that up, basically get a Jenny to power the saw. We need to get a generator, we need fuel for the generator, we need to hook it up so that we can do a non-orbment-based solution to try and cut into this thing. But that means we need to find those things, which no one knows what they are. So we have to go to the Orbital calculator, which is called Capel.
So, as a little heads up, everybody, if there's a little weirdness between everything you just heard and what you hear going forward, we did actually have to take a break in the middle of recording, which doesn't usually happen. So we're going to try and do this as seamlessly as possible, but I've been under the weather and suddenly was not well and really needed to stop and go to bed. So, but I'm much better now, and we're back and excited to talk about combustion engines.
Yeah, we've moved past both the Orbital shutdown phenomenon and the Lex shutdown phenomenon to continue with the podcast. I also managed to pour an entire coffee directly into my laptop as we were setting up for this catch-up session. So, hey, maybe this podcast is going to end really early.
I really hope that's not the universe sending us signs.
For a peek behind the curtain as well, in the time between the first half of recording this episode and this second half, we've revealed the podcast. We launched the website. We posted our teaser. And also shared it on the TWG, the Worst Garbage Discord, which is where a lot of Trails sickos live. We are citizens, not inherited mayors of the Discord, but we do like hanging out there. So thank you to everyone who might be listening now, who was listening then when we dropped that. It's very exciting to see you all excited.
Yeah.
So we'd better continue with the podcast so you've got more stuff to be excited about. So
Exactly.
where we left
Gosh.
off
All right.
minutes ago for you and days ago for us was we tried to crack open the black orbment with a circular saw. Didn't work because it's orbment powered and it instantly got shut down. We get told we have to find a combustion engine and some gasoline, a mysterious fluid,
Gasolina.
to power it. And the only way to find out where to do that is to ask Capel, the Orbital computer, which is basically Orbital Google. So we head over to the lab where the Orbital computer lives, where Tita is also hanging out, and it's time to find out what's going on. So it was kind of cute. You go through the computer, and there's just a bunch of stuff in there that you can read if you want.
And there's a whole boot up screen too, which is really adorable. Like, it reminds me of like my AOL dial-up days, right? Where it boots up with, the little text coming up and then the copyright at the bottom, in-universe copyright. I guess they have a copyright system, which I'm a copyright law nerd, so that always makes me excited when I see it referenced in fictional universes. And it's just this really cute, like, it actually takes a second for the whole boot up page to finish, like, all the text that goes across the screen before you can look at it.
Yeah.
And then, it's almost like a little library, like, equivalent to a JRPG library where there's a bunch of stuff you can read about optionally. And I read about everything, of course, but there wasn't, I don't think there was that much that I wanted to shout out. I don't have it in my notes, at least, but again, my notes are not at their best quality this week. But there was some fun. It was just fun to look through and get some background.
Yeah, I didn't catch anything particularly exciting, but I scrolled through. I found an entry about the engine and about the gasoline and where to find them. So I knew where to head next.
So we learn about these things and where to find them. Well, we don't really know where they are, but we know where we might be. You know where to go ask who might have them.
The first one that I went and got was the gasoline because it was close by.
Mm-hmm.
Down in the basement, we get the fuel on the cool little conveyor belt. She basically radios to someone else somewhere else, and they send it on the conveyor belt.
Immediately. They don't have to go locate it or anything. Like, they just have it, like, right there.
It's just a Amazon distribution warehouse, basically. But they did talk about how there are different workshops and factories underneath the city all over the place building different things. So I guess that's the Calvard gasoline area, because it is Calvard gasoline. They make a point of saying that.
Yes, they do. Estelle and Joshua are just so charmed by this conveyor belt. It's like so high tech. They're just overwhelmed.
I can identify. The first time I went to a sushi train that had things on the little conveyor belt.
Oh my god, yes.
I was overcome with the same amount of wonder, so I can understand where they're coming from.
I get you. Now you put it like that, I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm being too harsh on them. I would be filled with wonder as well. Faye, also, I noticed early when I was talking to her, I talked to her before the scene, but I remember that she was complaining about a guy who she's pissed off at, and that'll come up later, but it was fun that her dialogue earlier, she's kind of muttering about a guy who has let her down.
I love how the dialogue will change in instances like this. We've covered the fact that the dialogue changes constantly from NPCs every time you trigger even a minor event. That's why the script of this game is heavy enough to kill a child. But it is kind of fun. But yeah, we got the gasoline from Faye. Thank you, Faye. She's complaining about a boy. The thing I love about these kind of dialogues is you can never quite tell if it's going to be important or if it's just flavor. So everyone feels equally important, which is a nice way to feel.
Yeah,
because, my favorite thing is like remakes of RPGs where, the core cast and big player characters have all been souped up to 4K or whatever, and then you turn around and all the other NPCs are just underdeveloped both visually and textually. It just makes me think of that Assassin's Creed 2 remake where there was just that one NPC who looked like a monster.
Oh my god, I've seen that.
Who was also in the ad for the new Goat Simulator game, I remember, from Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards or something. Wow. They showed that particular, gross NPC locked up in, video game prison. I thought that was nice.
We'll get to this in, the final chapter of it, but I do think the theme of Trails, or one of the major themes overall, is that everyone has a life that's just as full and interesting and important as yours, even if you don't know it, and that's, I think, one of the major theses of the series, and that's really shines through in the fact that everybody has dialogue that hints at a bigger story going on with them, regardless of whether or not we get to see more of that story in a side quest, or if we just never learn anything more about what's going on with them.
Yeah, everyone has value, everyone has an internal life. That's really
Exactly.
something you should be carrying out of Trails and into your life in the real world.
Yes.
But while we're in this non-real world, we still have to find a combustion engine to get things working over here. And we find that we need to head to the airship, the air yard, the skyboat dock.
The landing port.
Landing port, that's the one.
To find this ancient piece of technology, because we're just not sure. Nobody even understands why anyone would ever need the combustion engine. It's so ancient, it's so outdated, and gasoline, I mean, it's lucky enough that we could find that fossil, but not fossil fuel, just fossil. But so we gotta go down to the landing port.
Where we get another sick airship arrival.
Yes, we do.
Love how much they put into having airships show up, because it's another new airship we haven't seen before. It's bright orange.
And they comment on the color too. It's a similar design to passenger airships, but passenger airships don't come in orange, and this is apparently like the same base build originally, but it's been modified, and it's maintenance chief engineer something. It's like a whole engineering factory on an airship.
It's got crane arms and stuff like retrofitted onto it, and they talk about it being basically a flying maintenance department, which is awesome.
Amazing.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But then we do need to ask about the engine. We get sent to a particular gent whose name I did not note down.
Gustav, I think.
Gustav, okay.
I think it was maintenance chief Gustav.
My notes corrected it to hostage, and I figured that probably wasn't correct.
Gotta go to get that.
Yeah,
We're taking the combustion engine hostage.
Yes, hostage gives us the engine. That's what happened.
Yeah, he comments that it's interesting because the military was just using it, borrowing it for testing. And he's like, it's so weird. No one's wanted testing. Matt just did some air quotes. It's interesting because he's like, wow, no one has done anything. This has just been collecting dust for like decades. And now all at the same time, multiple people want to use it for testing or experiments or something. So yeah, the military had something to do with it, but they finished right on time for us to get it when we need it, luckily enough. So he hands it over, and he's like, it's really heavy. And Estelle's like, we'll be fine. Picks it up. Oh, it is really heavy, but she's still able to carry it because she's a strong bracer. She's like, it's not going to be heavy. Oh, it is.
It's an odd thing for them to make a big deal about, because it doesn't pay off in any way. It's just, it's heavy, and that doesn't come into play at any point, it being heavy. It's just, oh, it's heavy. Yes, it is. Move on.
Yeah, it's like you'd expect it to be, when, like a little animation where they're holding it and you walk slower or something. Like, it's set up as though there's going to be some sort of gameplay integration with the fact that it's big and heavy, but...
Oh, God, I can 100% imagine them doing, like, a slow walking, don't get bumped into by people thing, which would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Thank you for not doing that, Neon Falcon.
Thank you, Falcon.
But yeah, it's odd that the engine was with the army for testing, because I don't think that the army testing something that combusts is going to be for, public health benefit or anything.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder why, you can start fires with your pocket watch. Why would you need dated piece of technology, a combustion engine? Like, the reason we need it is because we're trying to deal with an orbit that cancels out orbital technology, so we need something that isn't orbital. But why they would need something that's not orbital? I mean, it might not be because of that they need it, but it's very strange.
It does seem like a technological dead end at this point, considering, I can pull out my pocket watch and cast a spell that summons the souls of the dead to kill everyone in a medium-sized area. Probably don't need to invent missiles or whatever the hell they're working on now. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully we won't.
Yeah. So, but we bring it all back to the lab, or to the factory, to the lab, to whatever room Professor Russell hangs out in. I can't remember. I think it was called the lab. Yeah,
they're all kind of named on top of each other in an odd way.
Or the workshop. We head back with all of our goodies, and now we can set this thing up to actually to work.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately we get it, the circular saw running with the combustion engine, and immediately it's super loud, and like, wow, it's so loud and inefficient, all these reasons why it's not as good as orbital technology. But unlike orbital technology, it doesn't get canceled out by the black orbit. So the saw is going, and it scrapes the black orbit shell, and there's a scratch left on it, which is more than was left from the other before, but it's gonna take a long time to break through at this rate.
I also really liked that while this is all going on and the saw is running, everyone's text boxes are shaking to kind of reference how loud the saw is. I just like, they're just like,
yeah,
it's going well.
It's gonna take a while for this to break through.
Yeah, the professor even mentions that it's going to take a number of saw blades to get through this. So I hope he's got enough and enough fuel in the generator. But we've got other things to deal with because this is the point when we find out there's something else to do.
Mm-hmm. There's a town called Elmo, which is amazing, just on its own. And the hot springs, there's something wrong with the hot springs pump or whatever, and apparently this is a priority for Professor Russell. He does care about fixing this thing, but he can't go when he's doing this. And so Tita pipes up with the fact that she's totally able to fix it, and she's happy to go down and do it and fix it for Mrs. Mao is the name of the innkeep, she says, I want to help Mrs. Mao. And everyone's like, well, Tita, you're a 10-year-old child. We're not sending you on the monster road. And so us bracers volunteer to be her escorts. And they say, oh, well, actually, that's okay then. We have two, that's responsible, so we can do that. And we're going to go off and bring Tita to Elmo. We'll bring Tita to meet Elmo. But first, there's some side quests.
So many side quests. So we did shuffle these around a little bit just to kind of cover them all in one chunk, but you could have been starting on some of these in the preceding events in Zeiss. But just to sort of sum up what we got through, I think we talked about earlier the librarian quest. You're tasked to find the 3 books in the building, and then you get told about another book that's out in the greater county zone area of Zeiss.
The riddle.
Actually, I don't know. Do they have a name for the districts? They just talk about going to Zeiss, but it's Zeiss and Elmo. So I don't know if they have a name for the area.
The regions have the same name as their major city for no clear reasons. It's very confusing. But so it's the Zeiss region and the Zeiss city. It's all the other towns are just less important because they're not. They don't get the name.
So it's a New York City, New York State kind of situation, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, anyway, so we did the librarian starting stuff, then activated the second quest, Librarian Plus.
Temple Librarian Plus.
I think we can probably fire through them pretty quickly because we were talking for an hour and a half before we started the second recording. So we had the potent ingredient quest, where the guy wants something new and unusual to use in his recipes in the bar.
Yes. And I just so happened to steal a tomato from a lab earlier, so that worked out. An acerbic tomato.
Walk into the kitchen and say, hey, here's a GMO tomato. Would you like it? It tastes
the most bitter thing you've ever tasted.
It turns out it's exactly the right thing for him, though. And he turns around, struck by inspiration, and invents the tomato sandwich.
The tomato sandwich. It's a great sandwich because it heals a bunch of CP.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's one of the few that boosts CP. But also, that's not much of an invention, my guy. You took some tomato and you put it on bread. We've already got that. It's just not tomato. In fact, we probably have tomato sandwiches that just aren't bitter tomatoes.
Probably,
acerbic tomatoes. So we finished that one up. Done and done.
I've got the Strega quest, which is delightful because Estelle gets to live out her dreams. So you go to one of the lab, workshop, whatever rooms, and we find out that the Zeiss factory is also one of the manufacturing or design centers for Strega sneakers, which, as we know, Estelle is eternally devoted to. And they want to test a new sneaker design, so they want someone to walk around in them for a really long time to test out the soles, and Estelle thanks the goddess for this job. She scares the guy with how enthusiastic she is.
But you yells her consent at him,
Yeah, and you do have to, you go and put them on in your, equip them in your equipment menu. And you need to walk all over the place. So I wore them while doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
One note is you can also, he mentions places that he wants you to walk to, and then he says, and you can walk, anywhere else that you think will be useful. And if you walk all the way back to Erletten checkpoint, you will get some bonus BP.
Yeah, so the have-to-go-tos are Leiston Fortress, Sanktheim Gate.
Sanktheim Gate, yeah.
Okay. Wolf Fort, which are the locations in Zeiss. And then if you really want to push it, you can backtrack to Erletten checkpoint through the tunnel, where we met Tia.
Yes.
I did end up going to all of these locations over the course of the next few side quests and the story beats.
Yes.
But I will say there's no indication in the game whatsoever that you're making progress. There's not... I would expect a text box when you walk into the Wolf Fort map and all that to say, the sneakers are still doing well or something. Hopefully something like that will be added in the remake, because I went to all the locations and then I'd gotten halfway through the trip to the first gate when I realized I hadn't put the shoes on yet. So I backtracked to the city, put them on, and redid the walk, just in case it was, you've got to tick all the boxes on the way there or whatever. But there's no indication that you're there. There's no indication when you've been to all of the locations, including the bonus one, that you have worn down the shoes. It's only when you go back and sort of hand in the quest, which...
Yeah, only when you talk to him.
If you hadn't done it properly, it's kind of too bad. You've committed to finishing the mission at this point.
Yeah, I had almost expected there to be some sort of like the item description to change in your equipment thing.
Yeah,
I thought maybe
same.
they'll hide it there, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't change at all, even when it's supposedly super worn down. And that's unfortunate.
When you take them back to the central factory and hand them in, if you've done all 4 locations, he'll say, "Yep, you've absolutely decimated these shoes." And then, as a reward, he will give you the beta Stragers to replace the alpha Stragers you were testing, which are Estelle exclusive as well, which I thought was very cute.
Yes.
Only Estelle can wear these. But yes, you get some free shoes.
And you get to keep the alpha Stragers. They are still in your equipment.
That's right, yeah. It's just that only Estelle can wear them, so...
Yes.
Too bad. What did you have next, actually?
I also, on the way, there were some monster related quests, and one of them is on Ritter Roads, which was one of the roads I walked on to get to these forts. I can't remember which one at the top of my head right now. So I did take out that monster, and when I was at Wolf Fort, there was a guy who was just having a nightmare and screaming and crying. Screaming, "No, Faye, I'm sorry!" And it turns out that he had been dating Faye, the girl who gave us the gasoline, and they broke up recently, and he is really bummed about it and wants to make it up to her, and so he gives us a love letter for her, but says, Estelle is like, a letter is, you're just going to mess with her if you send her a letter. You need to do something else to, like, show that you actually care. You give her a gift or something. And the guy's like, that's a great idea. Here's some money. Go buy a gift to give her. Which kind of defeats the point, but Estelle and Joshua were like, okay, I guess. But Estelle and Joshua are like, really? And finally agree. And the item that you can give her is a woolly knit hat that you can buy at, like, the item shop. She says, I want something cute. And Joshua's like, what about a plushie? And Estelle's like, that's a bit too childish. Something cute. And he goes, oh, something that'll let her show off her feminine side, okay?
Nothing says love and dedication to a partner like having a stranger go and buy them a toque.
Exactly. But I gave it to Faye, and Faye was happy with it, and she's willing to at least talk to the guy. They're not back together yet or anything. I mean, they haven't even talked, but she's willing to talk with him and see if they can work things out and give it another go. She's
open to it, which is lovely. I lucked out. I had bought a woolly knit hat from the store and just never equipped it, so it was just sitting in there.
Well, I had actually equipped it on Tita because I thought that's adorable. I'll give her a knit hat, and then I took it off of her.
Yeah, no, you can't have this hat. Take this hat off this child and give it to your girlfriend.
Yeah. I thought the item description was like, it'd be great for a young girl or something, so I was like, oh, it must be perfect for Tita. Then I had to take it away from the child, let her ears freeze.
Next one I had on my list was a haulage vehicle search.
Yep, I had that too.
We have to find a missing haulage vehicle, one of those semi-hovercraft looking things that we saw earlier in the game.
That tragically don't have her.
Sadly don't. Especially not this one, because it's broken as hell. It turns out they've broken down on the way to one of the gates. It's in the big field area, I know that much.
Mm-hmm. On Trap Plains. It's in Trap Plains that it's been lost. And so I go and I find it. And I found a monster on the way and took it out. One of the monsters from the quests. And we find them, and the thing's just totally broken down. And unfortunately, Tita can't just fix it, which Estelle seems surprised that Tita can't just fix it just like that. But we are going to need to get a new part for it of some kind, a new orbital something to switch into it.
Which is the end of the search quest that then immediately starts the haulage vehicle repair quest, a separate one. So you can still get points for getting this far if you don't finish the second half, which is nice. So after beating up all the armored rabbits that attack us, who are just kind of a pain in the ass, we get told that to get the parts, we basically need to backtrack all the way we just came to Zeiss, to the central factory.
We need to talk to some guy called Prometheus, which is a great name. But he was apparently one of the hostages on the ship on the Lind when it was hijacked, which is a fun note.
I did remember the name, yeah.
You do keep running into people who were on that, who you saved in the hostage, like, throughout the game, which is a nice touch. Yeah. There were a few of them in Ruan, too.
But we backtrack to talk to our old mate Prometheus. ask him, hey, where would we find I think I need a new orbital engine for the vehicle is the problem. And,
He's
hey, where can we
I
find
don't
an
know.
orbital engine? And he just says, no fucking idea. So there wasn't really an indication to do so, but I just backtracked to Orbital Google and looked on the
Yes.
computer because I figured, hey, this seems to be where we go to find things that no one knows where they are because everyone at Zeiss Central
Yeah.
Factory is terrible at bookkeeping.
I was really disappointed though that I had already read everything, but even though I had read the haulage vehicle page before, it didn't let me. I couldn't go talk to the guy. I had to go and actually look him up.
Re-trigger it again. Okay, interesting. That would be nice if it
Yeah.
caught up to that, but that's a layer of complexity, understandable.
Yeah.
But we go down to B1, as I was saying earlier, when I got my wires crossed.
Yes.
We get an engine from the fellow working down there, and then we take it back to the vehicle, fix it up, and they're ready to go.
I got some funny dialogue from this guy because he apparently he's upset because Faye is his boss and she's upset, but he also has a crush on her. But he's also mad that
That's
she's
right,
being mean because she's got because of her breakup. But he also has a crush on her, so it's not that he wants her. It's just interesting because it was like a little love triangle angle going on. But he's helpful and gives us the part for the hover, not the hovercraft, the haulage vehicle. So
He
we
might
go
have
and we
missed
fix
his
it.
chance with Faye because we did that other side quest first. Sorry to Mr.
Yeah.
Basement.
And there was one more side quest in there. There was a cigarette side quest.
Oh, yes. I skipped over that one.
The lady at the clinic says, I have a pack of cigarettes that I had confiscated that kept in the case, and it's gone missing. And we have a strict non-smoking policy here, and we can't let somebody get away with, smoking. And we need to find out who did it. And then she points out that Antoine the cat was an eyewitness, and he might be able to help us. So we then get to add Antoine the cat to our party, and as you walk along, he walks behind you like your party members, which is amazing. It's so cute.
Can I surprise you with something at this point, Lex?
Tell me.
I started this quest, and I took screenshots of all the books we rescued for the librarian quest. So I had
The
a
kitty
full
cat
glossary of all the cat translations. I made a point of going through and identifying what he says at each point during this quest.
Oh my god. It occurred to me after it all that might align, but it was after I'd finished this quest, so I couldn't even look.
I was so happy because I was like, oh, this is just fun. I was just taking photos of all the books so I'd have them for reference for the podcast. But then I was like, oh shit, he's saying the cat phrases. And this means that I can now translate every cat for the rest of the game if they're consistent.
Oh my god. Amazing.
So, the cigarettes have been stolen. We're told of a couple of suspected past smokers who might have been responsible. When we first get introduced to Antoine at the start, I'm just going to bring up the screenshots alongside so I can try and say the cat phrases at the same time.
Please do. I love this.
So when you first meet him, he says, Nyago. And the book actually makes mention that there's a difference between a single tilde and multiple tildes to extend how far the meow goes for. And as an owner of a ragdoll cat, I know that those can be very, very, very long. So you get introduced to him. He just says, hello, Nyago.
Very polite.
When they're sort of questioning whether a cat can actually help them achieve this, he says, Nyaon, I think, which is, you're absolutely right, or that's correct. Yes, I can help.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
When you head off to see the different people in the building who have been listed as suspects, Travis on level 5, you go up and talk to him, you ask Antoine what he thinks, and the thing that he just says is, huh, what's wrong? He's basically just indicating that he doesn't really have anything to say about this particular person. He says the same thing to Hugo on level 1 when you talk to him. And then when you get to Chief Murdoch's office on level 2, outside of the office door, he stops you and he says, hold up. So he's like, hey, stop. He says, Nyayago, which is hold up when urging to be cautious. So he's like, hang on a second. And then he repeats himself as you keep talking. When you go inside, he says, Nya-o, which is, this is it. He says it twice to kind of, he says it like 3 times. He's like, this is it. And then you keep talking and he's like, this is it. This is it. And Murdoch is very nervous. You end up checking the back door in Murdoch's office because he's being quite suspicious. And the cat says, this way, indicating that you are headed in the right direction.
But it's locked.
Estelle confirms and he says, yes, that's exactly right. She's like, are you sure it's this way? He's like, yes, very lassie. And then after that, Murdoch confesses. You find the cigarettes in his bedroom, which I guess he has a bedroom behind his office. That's not a healthy working relationship.
No, it's not healthy. But that's kind of the point of it, that it turns out that he really needs a vacation.
Yeah. But you find them, he confesses, he's sorry. You take them back. And from then on, every time you talk to Antoine, the noise he makes is just an expression of delight.
Oh my gosh.
So happy to have spent time with you and solved this problem.
Antoine.
I thought it was really cute that they
That's
made
so
sure to
cute.
keep it consistent. And I'm very interested to see any other pets throughout the rest of the game to see if they will have some sort of specified flavor text. It's just a fun little layer of extra detail.
Yeah, when we catch Murdoch in the act, basically what comes about is he's just been so stressed with work that he just needed a smoke. And the nurse is basically like, okay, you have to take a break. Because clearly sleeping in your office with your pile of cigarettes is not the move. So he agrees to that once things calm down, he'll leave some vacation time. So that's all settled. But I love that about Antoine. I love that you went and cross-referenced all of that. Oh my god.
I thought it'd be fun. I was really hoping it would pay off because I wouldn't put it past them to have just not done it. But yeah, perfect. Trails in the sky. Well done. But with that all done, I think that was all of our side quests, so it's finally time to rush off to Elmo Village, which was very urgent because the water pump was broken.
Yes, but they can wait for us to do our side questing.
Yeah, we've got to listen to a cat tell us who's a criminal.
Exactly.
But yeah, after we hike our way back over to Elmo Village, I'd basically been up to the doorstep of Elmo Village at this point. When we walk into Elmo Village, Estelle thinks that Joshua's been eating Beans the musical fruit, because she walks in, takes one sniff, and just assumes that Josh has ripped ass. It's like, did you fart?
Yeah. That's my notes, because my notes are really bad because I was so sick. My notes for Elmo Village don't say why we're there or why, that we've arrived. It just says Elmo Village, Estelle thinks Joshua farted. No other context. But yes, that's the sulfur smell because of from the hot springs. But yeah, she just thinks he ripped ass.
But Tita lets us know, no, that's just the sulfur in the water for the hot springs. And Estelle's not impressed. She says, ugh, really? Smells like someone left eggs out in the sun for a year.
Yeah. A year.
That's true. But we head into town. At the inn, Mrs. Mao, the proprietor, gives us the key for the shed to the pump, where we have to go and work. There's not much going on in town, really. You can sort of wander around, but there's no major stores or anything.
No, there's one store, but it doesn't really have anything unique there, I don't think. There might have been, no, there wasn't anything. There is, at some point, a little restaurant in the inn where you can buy some food, but I didn't even realize that was there until later.
Yeah, I was kind of locked in at this point, but we head over to the shed, we get in, and pretty much as soon as she walks through the door, Tita is locked in, focused on the task at hand, and kind of loses track of time, so she's gonna work on that. Estelle offers to help out if they can, and she gets told, no, it's okay. You're alright.
Yeah, you're alright. So we leave her to do that when we go to look around town or go to the inn, and
yeah, they tell us to kick back at the inn until we're ready.
And we get there only to discover that another tourist has just gone off sightseeing into monster-infested areas and is definitely not combat ready. And Mrs. Mao is super worried. And Mrs. Mao, I think we forgot to mention, she says that Tita is like her other granddaughter. They have a very sweet relationship. She clearly knows this woman very well. But Mrs. Mao is worried about this other guest, so we go off to try and keep this guest alive. And we hear a scream, and we run off. And who is it?
Is someone calling out for Idios, Daddy, Niall, just anyone who help. Who is this mysterious woman from Grand Cell? It is none other but that bitch Dorothy.
Dorothy!
She's back at it again. And being attacked by more of those monstrous attack Dobermans.
Yeah, the same ones who attacked us at that checkpoint way up in the Bose Ruan border.
Same monsters. They're attacking her. You have to fight her. She's in the combat again, like she was in earlier chapters, just wandering around, snapping photos to kind of blind people.
Say cheese.
Which is great, but Tita has that covered now with her big area effect craft.
Yeah.
I did laugh because during the battle, more than once, Dorothy would get out her camera, say cheese, and take a photo and miss, which tells me that she's not a very good photographer. How do you miss someone with your photo? It's just like, hi, cheese, click.
I have to think it's like the Doberman looked away so the flash didn't blind him.
I
Other
suppose
than
photographing pets is tough, yeah.
yeah, it's probably just about like the blind, like getting the flash to go right when he's looking your way, because otherwise she just can't aim a camera to take pictures, which sounds not
She's
ideal.
But we knock down the Dobermans. It turns out she's on assignment from Niall to get some photo for a big thing in the paper, but Estelle is done with her.
She's so done because Dorothy wants to keep wandering around.
Thanks for saving me. I'm just gonna keep like wandering around in the wilds with monsters. And Estelle, when she's like, Estelle, are you okay? Because Estelle gets to be quiet. I'm not injured. I'm just really aggravated at your utter obliviousness. We are going now.
And she says that last one with a big smile, like a passive-aggressive big smile, and like a period between each word. And I think the font was even slightly bigger.
I think it is like just very slightly scaled up to show that she's...
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just that immediately after Dorothy says scary in a much smaller voice.
Yeah.
But yes, we decide to just drag her by her ankles back to town, because that is not going to happen, Dorothy. Or as my notes say, Dort.
Dort. So we get Dort back.
We get Dort back to Elmo. Oh my god. We get Dort back to Elmo, where we see that there's steam in the hot spring tub thing. Hooray! Tita's done with her work. She's very efficient. All it takes is saving one idiot for her to be finished.
Yeah, and she's concerned. She's like, "Did I finish?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can see the steam. It's okay, honey. You did good." And she's like, "Oh, yay!" She's so freaking cute, this kid.
Adorable.
But I think by now it's late in the day.
Yeah, as you enter into Elmo Village, it's more of a like sunsetty orange vibes. It looks really good.
Yeah.
I really liked the lighting.
It's really pretty, yeah.
And you head back to the inn where Mrs. Mao says, "Thank you so much for all your help. It's getting late. You can stay for free at the inn. Hooray!"
We love it.
You can stay at the inn and use the hot spring bath for free, which is pretty sick. That is the whole town's whole reason for being, which is why the pump breaking down was such a big deal.
Yeah.
We dump our stuff in the bedroom and then decide to go relax to unwind from the stress of saving Dorothy and fixing vehicles and resolving people's love issues and all that other stuff that we do is just fix-it people in this town. Exactly. I really, really liked, as you're panning into the bathhouse, you sort of follow Estelle and Tita in while they're having a chat. They have this shot of the changing room where you can see little hampers with their clothes, and it's a custom sprite for each of their clothes kind of like dumped into the basket, which is very cute. You can see all the reds of Estelle's outfit and Tita's outfit as well. And then they're sitting in the hot spring. I love Estelle's little reclining in a towel sprite.
It's adorable.
She's just kicking back, having a great time. In the bath, Tita asks Estelle more about Joshua. She's sort of poking and prodding, asking questions, and eventually just asks, "So you guys married?"
Which is adorable, actually, given, like, I remember being young enough that I thought a 16-year-old was, like, grown up and, grown up and get married age. Like, it's actually quite adorable. And Tita's like, "Well, you have the same last name, but you don't look alike at all." And Estelle is not okay with this question. She's like freaking out at it. But Tita, it's really adorable. The Tita, like, it really makes her feel like a real kid, like a young. Oftentimes in JRPGs, kids like they don't read consistently as a kid, like the way they swing between coming across really young and coming across way older. Like they're not consistently like whatever age they're supposed to be. But we get our obviously our mandatory child party member isn't entirely realistic because of her incredible mechanical skills, but I do like that the way she's written. She feels very consistent in her age, and written that she's a precocious child, but she feels like her age. She feels like
she's a very smart precocious child, but she's a precocious child. Yeah.
Yes.
I also like that when she asks if they're married, Estelle's response is just she doesn't say anything at first, just kind of frozen, and then goes, "Sorry, I must have spaced out." What was that?
Yeah.
Just selective deafness.
Yeah.
And Tita's sort of, "I was wondering if you and Joshua were married." And she looks she's blushing and stuff. So I think the implication is that maybe she's like got a little girl crush on Joshua a little bit. And she's like, "Do I have a chance, or are you like locked in?"
Or on Estelle.
yeah, Estelle freaks out. They chat for a while, and it eventually ends with her just kind of going crazy, and she's like, I'm going to leave and going to the public bath now. Goodbye.
She, amazingly, her, I have a screenshot of her like, with a screaming face, and then in parentheses, she goes, no! Bad thoughts! Which is amazing, because it's clear that once Cheetah has brought it up, all this time people have brought up, like, you and Joshua seem like a couple, and she's brushed it off, but this time, for some reason, has got Estelle suddenly rethinking her whole relationship with Joshua.
I think it's the fact that she's left home for the first time. So it's not just people they know who are sort of reading into this saying, like, oh, you two are really close. Are you a couple? Are you going to be a couple? It's people who see them and just on side are like, oh, lovers.
Mm-hmm. But she hasn't even had the same reaction when, like, Chloe and Jill brought it up. Like, she's laughed about it, but she didn't start having flashbacks of, like, their whole relationship and, like, rethinking everything until now. Maybe it's something about Tita being so young, like, that she knows it's not someone just, like, ribbing on her, like, making fun. Like, she has to earnestly think about her question in a way that she doesn't have to with kids. I mean, with other people her age or older. Because there have been other people, as they've been traveling, who have, like, done the same kind of, or made comments about them to her face, and Estelle has just, like, laughed it off or brushed it off or been like, ew, no, and not really thought more about it.
Piece by piece, it's just been building up in her head.
Yeah, but she runs off into the public bath, and Tita calls after her, by the way, the bath is unisex, but Estelle doesn't hear, and she goes outside, and she has a really cute little blushy face, and in her internal thought, she's going, whew, okay, settle down, heart, I hear you. And you get flashes of her, like, images from her and Joshua from earlier in the game of, like, them, you know, on the dock with the harmonica and stuff like that, and it's quite cute. But yeah, she's gone outside and she's like, what's going on? Why am I suddenly reevaluating my whole relationship with Joshua?
Yeah, it's very steamy out in the public bath, so she's like, I'm just gonna jump in and just relax and kind of unwind. Yeah. And wouldn't you know it, the steam parts, and who could be in the bath with her but her platonic adopted brother, Joshua Bryan.
It's very funny because he says something, she's like, wow, it's so big out here, and there's a voice that's like, you're not supposed to do the butterfly stroke, you know? And she replies back, like, retorts without thinking about it, and then only a minute later processes the fact that there's a boy in here with her, and then you see it's Joshua, like, it's so natural to her first, and she's like, wait, what? And then she just screams when she realizes Joshua's there, and it zooms out. It zooms out so you see the whole town, and while her, like, speech box is just, like...
I love that they pull back and show the entire map, yeah. Things kind of calm down. Tita joins them in the outdoors, and they're having a chat. There's some reference to Joshua being cute or not cute.
Yeah.
And he had the very, very anime response of, it's not as if it means anything to me whether or not you think I'm cute.
Yeah, he's really upset. He says that he implies that he's taken Estelle screaming as being that she's, like, disgusted by him, which is a very kind of contrived. It feels a bit contrived as a reaction, but also when you're 16, you're not rational especially if you have a crush on someone. So I can pass that. I can let that pass a bit. You can be irrationally hurt by things that your crush does or doesn't do and take it personally when it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
In this chat, they're talking to Tita. They also talk about adopting Tita.
Yes, because Tita's saying that she's jealous because she didn't have a sibling. She's an only child. And Tita, one thing that's come across this chapter is that, you know, Tita's parents are gone all the time. They're in another country working to bring organ technology there, something like that. So she lives with her grandpa. She clearly doesn't seem to have any kids her age in town. Like, I mean, we've seen a couple of kids in town, but they seem a bit younger than her, and we haven't seen her interact with them at all. She's precocious. It seems like everyone she interacts with is, like, an adult at the factory, and makes it clear that she's jealous of them having really envious of this whole sibling relationship, or just having someone else your age to spend time with, or... And so Estelle's like, well, I'll be your big sister, so we'll adopt you into our family, and Joshua can be your big brother, and we're adopting you. And Tita's so happy. It's just adorable. She's so excited.
Yeah, the adoptees are becoming the adopters, and it's just a chain of unusual and hard to explain family dynamics.
The best kind.
Yeah, we have a nice time relaxing after all this drama. and then it's time for bed pretty much after that.
Yeah, we apparently we were so late we were supposed to get dinner with Dorothy, and we were so late that she was very upset, and we had to calm her down over yummy dinner. She was upset that we snubbed her by accident.
Yeah, she was drinking too many fruit milks.
Fruity milk. Every time she mentions the bath, she's like, "I'm gonna have a fruity milk."
That's a lot of dairy, Dorothy.
Oh, and while I was in the area, I also found the book from the Temple Librarian, the puzzle riddle one, which was at the statue in the hot spring, or near the hot spring.
Wild. Makes sense with the little riddle that you were given, but who leaves a book on top of a statue in a pond next to a hot spring?
I read the book too. It's the herb woodpecker, and it tells the story of this species of woodpecker that no longer is able to peck wood because their whole deal was that they would swoop in and steal the nests that other types of woodpeckers made, and so they evolved to no longer actually be able to peck wood. But then another invasive species was introduced, and all those other woodpeckers immigrated to other areas, and the herb woodpecker couldn't live on its own without being able to swoop in and steal the work of the other woodpeckers, so they're now almost extinct. And they're blue, apparently. So that was just an interesting little story.
Is it an allegory? Because again, this is from a business's corporate library. Why?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't read the book yet, so that's fun to hear about. After we've done our library duties, it's bedtime. It's time to head back to Zeiss the next day. Dorothy's decided to come along with us because she doesn't want to get murdered by Dobermans again.
Yeah. And as we head along, we encounter someone, an Eastern man, or, as Dorothy puts it, a bear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you would know more about bears than me, Matt. What is our assessment of this Eastern bear?
Well, from the face shot and the sprite, it's a little hard to tell. He does seem quite statuesque. He seems broad-shouldered and strong.
He does. His sprite is like twice the height of everyone else.
Yeah, that's a big bitch. But as far as bear things, I don't know. He doesn't make the bear face in his sprite, so it's hard to tell.
True.
If you don't know what the bear face is, you're living a good life. It's a it's not important. Anyway, this man who goes unnamed, he's looking for the way to Elmo.
I think he's hitting up the hot spring.
Yeah, he wants to relax and unwind his bear muscles, I guess. So we point him in the right direction and head on. We get back to Zeiss.
Before we head to Zeiss, there's a little dialogue where they mention, like, he looks like he's a martial arts practitioner, an expert of martial arts, and it sounds like he's really trained his body. You can tell that, and as Joshua was like, yeah, each of his legs is as thick as a tree trunk.
Okay, Josh.
And Estelle's like, well, I'm a martial arts practitioner too, so I can tell these things. I do martial arts with a stick, and yeah, there's just a little interaction, and they comment that maybe he just came over from Calvert because he's in Eastern Close, and they are right next to the border, so maybe he's just a tourist who's just come in. So we head back to Zeiss.
We do. But we head into Zeiss, where everything is fine. No, wait, it's not, because there's smoke pouring out of every floor of the Zeiss Central Factory. What the hell?
Yeah, what the fuck? That's not good. So, we rush to see what's going on, and it seems like everyone's evacuated except no Professor Russell. And so we're like, well, obviously we have to go in to get him and find him. So Estelle and Joshua are going to go in, they're bracers, and Cheetah insists on coming with. And you kind of get the impression that, A, nobody wants to tell her, no, wait out here while your grandpa might be dying. And B, the time it would take to try and convince her not to come along is time that would be wasted. So they're like, it looks like the air is breathable. Just stay really close to us, Cheetah, and if we tell you to leave, you leave right away. Which still, I don't know if that would be ideal for smoke inhalation issues, but but they let her in, and they get in, and Joshua is immediately like, well, if you talk to some people outside, one of them is like, this is weird, that's not how this smoke is not the smoke that comes from a fire. This isn't the way fire burns. And then you go in, and Joshua's like, there's smoke canisters around. I'm not sure what's going on, but there definitely are. And now what you need to do, or are supposed to do, is actually go around the building looking for smoke canisters that you can disable. And this will get you extra BP. There's 5, I think, throughout.
There's one on each floor. Starting on the ground floor, there's one just in the little lobby atrium area next to you. And you just have to go through the different rooms that you've already been to so many times and find the canister. until the stairwell is completely clear of smoke. That's what tells you that you've found all of them, because
Yeah.
there's not a pop-up to say you did it.
Yeah, and it is cute. It is nice that the rooms each floor is cleared up after you've gotten rid of that smoke canister. Like visually, you can tell, which is quite nice. It's nice for immersion purposes. But we put them all out, and it's becoming clear that there wasn't a fire. It was the smoke canisters to give the appearance of a fire. And we rush up to the professor's lab, but he's not there. And then somebody else shows up.
None other than the big jerk himself, Agate Krosner.
The heavy blade shows up. Again, this is like the third chapter he's shown up in now, which is fun that he's, like, it's fun how most characters seem to be in for like a chapter, and then Agate doesn't have a one chapter about him. He just keeps kind of cropping up.
He's just constantly following around a step behind us.
Yeah, but Agate is like, what are you doing here? As though like we're suspicious for being here, but he doesn't really pursue that line of questioning. We're like, what are you doing here? Basically, right now the priority is to find the professor, so we don't really follow up on that. And we rush out and get to the elevators, and we see him being dragged unconscious, being dragged onto the elevator by those men in masks that we keep seeing.
The black-clad soldiers are back again. They unfortunately get away with the professor. We're not able to save him in this moment.
We've rushed down the stairs, hoping to be faster than the elevator, I guess. Which the elevators haven't been working this whole time. Like, if you try, when you're trying to get the smoke canisters, if you try to take the elevator, it just says the elevator can't be used right now. But they get the elevator.
It says someone else must be using it, which tells me that one of those black-clad soldiers was standing up on level 5, just holding the open door button, waiting for the escape.
I didn't read the message. I just figured it was like, how in a fire you can't use the elevator.
But that was my thought too, and I tried it anyway, but it's like, they specifically say it seems like someone else is using the elevator.
Interesting that they put that in there. That's cool. But they get away, we run downstairs and go out, and we're yelling, like, basically, Agate is like, it's, a 50-50 shot if they're going to try and go out the front door, or if they're going to go to the basement to the tunnel. So I tried the front door, and they weren't there, but when you talk to Murdoch, we figure out pretty quickly that he's like, some royal soldier guys were here, but it becomes clear that they changed their clothes into a disguise in the elevator and put the professor in a briefcase and carried him out in a briefcase. A really big briefcase, I guess.
I did see some royal soldiers with a large bag big enough for a corpse to fit inside, but probably nothing to do with it.
And Tita is really distressed, but we comfort her that if they've kidnapped her grandpa, it's because of his brilliant mind. They're not going to hurt him when they clearly want him for his intelligence. And that does reassure her a bit. Obviously, she's not, thrilled. But it does calm her down a bit that they're probably not just going to murder him. We have aftermath in the office of Murdoch with Amalthea, the pink-haired Royal Army lady, who is, she's like, this is definitely terrorism, this is awful. She's like, we'd like to take over the investigation, have you guys back off, which is kind of weird. And Aga's like, no, we're not backing off. And she goes, okay, I understand, as long as you say that if you learn anything, you'll report to the Lacey Fortress, I think she tells us to report to. And I goes, okay, and in return, you can, if you learn anything, report to the guild. And she goes, okay, fine. She also has Dorothy hand over her photo quartz, because it turns out Dorothy got pics of the culprit leaving. And she's like, we can't have you publishing this, so turn over the photo quartz. And I was like, don't hand it over, Dorothy. Don't get rid of it. You'll never see that again. But she does sadly hand it over.
Don't give him the original, jeez.
Yeah. And this time Agate does want us to accompany him for reasons. He's like, because I can use you. As opposed to all those times he's kicking us off the case. But so no, now we go off to report to the guild. With Agate and Tita in tow. And who do we see in the guild?
None other but Professor Alba. He's back again.
Again. This bitch is back. And he was, of course, in the area to look at another tower.
Yes.
Because that's what he does. Carnelia. Like Karna. Like our girl Karna.
It's the Karna Tower. It's going to be so strong.
So strong.
I did actually spot the road to the tower when I was in the big field.
Yeah, me
it was signposted off say, don't go this way. And this time I listened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm busy and I don't need to be murdered right now. But yeah, Alba's in town for Carnelia Tower. And
he says that he saw the culprits, or he saw some suspicious activity, with some royal guards looking people who were talking about like a kidnapping and a hostage and stuff like that. And he was like, this is super suspicious. I'm going to go to the guild and tell them what I saw. And we're like, well, that exactly lines up with the kidnapping we just witnessed. So, presumably it was other people in on the same plan who he heard talking about it, and not that they managed to make it all the way to this tower and Alba made it all the way back in the like 5 seconds it's been. But then again, we did have a meeting with the royal guard, so maybe it's been long enough by this point.
This professor is suspicious as hell. He keeps showing up everywhere. He's got something. He's too nice. He's too happy-go-lucky to be happy-go-lucky. I'm gonna bleep this out, but I have a theory right this second.
Ooh.
Professor Alba is Why does he know what's going on with all these people all the time? Why is he so involved? How do you just casually see some people talking out loud about their kidnapping plan? It's a bit suspicious to me. But I guess we'll find out in time.
Yeah, I have absolutely no commentary. I know nothing. I can't read suddenly. I don't know. I'm being as neutral as I can, because I don't want to give anything away. But I love hearing your theories. Please continue to share them throughout the games.
Yeah, that's just my theory. I don't know if it'll pay off. I'm just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. But I don't trust this professor. He's too happy. And he's got those kind of reflective glasses that usually means the character's hiding something. But we have our new target, Carnelia Tower. Yeah. We need to go figure out what's going on. Get lost in another tower.
But unfortunately, we have to make Teoh cry, because Agate is basically like, no, you can't come. It's too dangerous. You're gonna slow us down. You're useless. And he's really mean about it, but he's also right. Like he's right.
He calls her shrimp or something.
Yeah, and he's like, you'll just slow us down and whatever. Like he's absolutely right that we should not be taking the 10-year-old because it's too dangerous. But he's really mean about it. And Cheetah's crying, and she's like, no, tell him Joshua Estelle. And Joshua's like, I really hate to agree with Agate, but he is right. It is too dangerous to take you. And Estelle clearly doesn't agree, but she knows she's outvoted and isn't gonna, or she clearly feels more for Teoh. I don't know that she disagrees, but she doesn't like the way they're handling it. Like, she's not happy about it, but she's like, well, I can't override them. And Teoh is like, how can you be so mean? And runs away crying, and it just breaks your heart. Because you know that this kid is going through, she's just watched her grandpa get kidnapped, she's in emotional distress, and then her 2 adopted older siblings are suddenly not bringing her along, and they're like, obviously they're right not to, but you can totally see at like 11 years of age how you just feel like the whole world's ganging up on you.
Also, I don't believe she's useless. Have you seen her craft? It's amazing.
She's so fucking useful. She would be super helpful. Like, the reasoning that it's too dangerous to take a 10-year-old, super fair. The reasoning that she wouldn't be helpful, no.
She has a bazooka. She's fine.
She has a bazooka, people.
She has a bazooka and us, which means she's good. And the first time I get swamped by a 5 or 6 party of enemies and they're just absolutely wrecking my shit because they're not blinded, I will be very mad.
Yep.
And I will continue to be mad at Agate Krosner because he's wrong in all things.
He is wrong. But that brings us to our checkpoint for this episode, where we had said we were going to stop when we get control after being told to go to the tower.
There was just too much has happened in this first half, and I needed to write it all down and remember it all and organize my screenshots, which out of context are completely mystifying. I had one screenshot in this as we've been going through the episode that I couldn't identify why I'd taken it, because it was just everyone standing in a hallway. But I was reminded that it's because Antoine's in the party at that point. It's Estelle, Joshua, Teoh, and Antoine just in a big line walking down the hallway, which is adorable. Well, I think that about does it for this episode. Lex, shall we take it to the close?
Yeah.
Well, that takes care of that.
So, as you've probably guessed, next episode, we're just going to be going to the end of Chapter 3. Nice and easy one this time. Other than that, that's all for now. Thanks so much for listening. You can find us on the Orbital Net at TrailsPod on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can send us an email at trailsthroughtrails@gmail.com. As always, I've been Lex.
And I've been Matt.
And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye!